Good evening once again, everybody. I'm Chris Berman. Welcome to ESPN's debut of NFL Primetime. Can you believe it's been 15 years? And what a ride it's been. Beep, 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 beep. I said a Todd Light, not a Bud Light. Stopped at the touchdown, the greatest comeback in the history of the National Football League. This is James Littleman Stewart. Curtis, my favorite Martin. John Pythagoras Theory. Eric sleeping with the enemy. Chris Calloway. Time. Chris Carter, all he does?
Catch touchdown.
What? And he could go all the way from
Louisville.
rumbling, bumbling, stumbling. Tick, 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 tick. No one circles the wagons. Look at that. Like the Buffalo Bills. John Connie, Sheila McCray. Good night, everybody.
I'm just like Costello. I'm following your lead.
Well then, follow my lead into the next 15 years. The Quest for Super Bowl 36 starts on Primetime. Elvis gets raving reviews from Ray in his Baltimore debut. Will Rice reign in his with rookie Minnis snooping around?
Malcolm Carter, what else is new?
What else is new? Leaky deaky doo. The Marshall Plan is in full effect at the bench, while Flutie and the Bolts send a surge past the Skins. The Colts have the edge with Peyton manning the helm. Will Favre and the Pack give Amon the green light? Anything can happen. It's Week 1 on NFL Primetime.
NFL Primetime is presented by Miller Lite. Primetime is Miller time. And now, here's your host, Chris Berman.
Was that really us? I'm not buying it.
I look at the teams. You look so,
Oh, stop it.
young, and I look so thin. And
No, I look so thin. We were so much older then. We're younger than that now. Chris Berman, Tom Jackson, 15 years with you on this show.
Good to be here.
Amazing bunch.
Good to be here, Bo.
And you know what? Opening day. Didn't it get you excited?
Yeah, it was great. It was great. Getting to the regular season is what we all look forward to, and I think the morning we wake up, we feel like players this morning.
We do, and Prime, we have plenty to show you. You've been with me now longer than you were with me.
I know. Well aware.
That starts to get shaky. You know what? We'll get to the champs and everybody else playing some great games, especially some later games. But you know what? When you think football, Tom, when you think NFL football, you think the Green Bay Packers. I mean, how can you not have football on opening day on the soon-to-be frozen tundra of Lambeau Field with one of the most exciting players, one of the most exciting places? We just felt like starting Lions, Packers with Bart Starr, Lambeau Field, and Ray Nitschke, and Willie Davis, and Vince Lombardi. And soon we'll be speaking like this, Brett Favre.
That's correct.
First quarter of the 142nd renewal of the Packers and the Lions, and come on, Green, shoo, 7-0, the Pack, and he already in his second year has that Lambeau lead. Later in the first, boy, Favre and the Packers came out firing. Billy Schrader, this 23-yard rainbow. You think Brett Favre is ready to open up the season, Tom? Looks like it, because Schrader is hit, and yes, I'll have another one. Packers aren't done, still first quarter. Own territory, they fake the reverse. Green bounces out, gets a block right there from Antonio Freeman. And he could go all the way, 83 yards, 21-0 Pack on a rainy day to the chagrin of new Lions president/GM Matt Millen.
Yeah, watch down the line of scrimmage. That's James Hall, who's going to slip right at the line of scrimmage, allow Amon Green, who shows some great balance, to get outside. Then Terry Fair going to come up. He's going to slip as well. And then a great block by Antonio Freeman to get him outside and to the sideline, and from there he's gone.
And in one quarter, how about 126 at the end of the half? Lions looking to get it closer, and Charlie Batchoff back foot too far. Darren Sharper with the pick, and I don't know why he ran it out, but you know what? That's not what's on the mind of Matt Miller. No! I think they need to suit Matt up, don't you? 28-6 Pack late in the fourth. Oh, it's the shovel pass to the fullback William Henderson. Look at Favre. Watch this, Tommy. He's going to put a block on Alonzo Spellman.
We saw this from a couple of quarterbacks today. This one from Brett Favre. We'll save the other one for later on in the show.
Well, there's several. It's the guys that know how to play quarterback. Interesting that they were throwing to blocks. And the Green Bay Packers, remember how well they finished last year to finish at 9-7? They pick up where they leave off, 28-6. Amon Green, 157 yards rushing. Favre, though, very Favre-like numbers, 22-28 for 260. And, oh, by the way, the Packers defense threw in 7 sacks. So, remember what we said? We talked about all the quarterback moves. There are 12 new quarterbacks. Tom, we talked about it this morning on Countdown. I think the best move is, you know what, you ready to start your 142nd straight game? Then why don't you go out? Because every game Brett Favre plays, the Packers have a chance to win. He remains the most exciting single player in football.
Well, offensively, the Green Bay Packers for a long time have been about the brilliance of one Brett Favre. And I think what you have to realize now is he's getting some help. He has a brilliant, young offensive line. They're going to do nothing but get better. He has Amon Green and Dorsey Levens as the running back. So he's got some depth there. He's got a veteran receiving corps led by Antonio Freeman, and the defense played pretty good football today.
Yes.
So I think we tend to forget how good this team could be with Brett Favre at the helm.
Kabir Baja-Biamila. Did I do
Say
it right?
what?
3 sacks in the Packers 7. It's a long name, but it's longer for the quarterbacks they play. All right, now we go on to the champion Baltimore Ravens. You know they bring their record-setting defense, and they have a new quarterback, Elvis Grbac. Here we go from the big crab cake. The Ravens opening up at home against the Chicago Bears. And that's Super Bowl MVP Ray Lewis, of course. The trophy with the owner, Art Modell, with the new quarterback, Elvis Grbac. Meanwhile, the Shane Matthews Band is looking for the space between Raven defenders, and that's going to be tough. But there's a little pass to Des White, 20 yards. You know what? The Bears, the flag was on Baltimore offside, by the way. 3rd and goal from the 2, James Allen. Last guy to have 100 yards against the Ravens. I think it happened in 1901. He was stopped, and the Bears got a field goal, 3-0. The Bears were very game. Corey Harris, the newest starter on the Ravens defense, bombing Des White right there. He turned out to be fine, but Brian Billick wants offense. And the score was 6-3 Bears in the 3rd. Top draft pick, Todd Uriah Heat, tight end. He can learn from Shannon Sharp. He can learn from Ozzie Newsome. 2 pretty good teachers, 24 yards. 3rd and 1 from the 8. They dust off Terry Allen with Lewis's injury, and he goes for the 1st down. Late 3rd, next play, Grbac to Sam Gash. You forget to cover him, one of our favorites. Touchdown, 10-6 Ravens.
Yeah, fullback out of the backfield. You don't see it often enough to be good at covering it.
And then there's the tip by Sharper, one of the linebackers, the interception by Ray Lewis into Chicago territory. The Bears did some hitting as well. Let's give them credit. They played this team very tough. Warwick Holdman with the hit on Terry Allen.
Yeah, Holdman, a great job of doing exactly what the running back's doing, getting over the top, making contact before he can get across the line of scrimmage.
But on the next play with a couple of blockers in front, the toss to Allen. And the Ravens, on paper, okay, they win at 17-6. They didn't struggle. The Bears had the ball for almost 35 minutes. So let's give Chicago credit. Their defense was very, very tough. Gerbac's numbers better than maybe he played. 24 of 30 for 262.
Well, I think a couple of things are troubling to Coach Brian Billick of the Ravens. Number one, Gerbach's numbers, as you said, are better than he actually played, and they had trouble running the football, so possibly they missed Jamal Lewis a little bit more than they anticipated.
But what a surprise, they give up no touchdowns.
That's correct.
In the opening game. When we return, Matt Hasselbeck ran into a stout Browns defense, and what a way to start off the season for Carolina.
That's a reverse to the tight end, Ernie Conwell, who gets inside the 10. Would you take a chance, or would you go ahead and field goal it here? Here comes the field goal unit.
I was going to say I would wait until 3rd down, but he's going to do it on 2nd. I think that I would take another shot. I guess when you run the old 255-pound tight end on a reverse and that doesn't work, you better kick the field goal. The thing that this gives you, if anything goes wrong, of course, if you miss the kick, then they get the ball. But if anything goes wrong in the snap or the hold, then you still have 2 more down.
Wilkins didn't miss an extra point or a field goal all year last year. Timeout, Philadelphia.
I don't know. This is the old Isenham thing. I don't know. You're an old kicker, OL kicker.
Yep.
Did that ever work against you?
Not that I remember.
But one thing I noticed, they don't go in the huddle. If you look here, Wilkins is way back here, and the huddle is 20 yards away from him. Now, what's that all about?
I went in the huddle.
See, yeah, but here's the huddle. So you used to go in here. You'd be the kicker in here. But now Wilkins is back here, and his guys are huddling up, talking about what he's going to do. Yeah, see, he doesn't want to talk to anyone, does he?
No.
You used to go in the huddle and talk to him and stuff?
I want to find out what was going on and how we got there.
All they're going to say is kick the ball.
Yeah, and that's
through these two things.
Right. Wilkins. From 25 yards. The Rams win it in
your way. Not planning on going to the
3-yard field goal by Jeff Wilkins, 20-17.
I'll tell you, for an opening day game, this was a great game, and you know, and both teams gave everything they had. I mean, there's a lot of empty tanks that are walking off this field right now.
Miller Lite. Grab a Miller Lite. It's Miller time. And in part by Kia Motors, makers of a full line of quality cars at affordable prices. And by TiVo. TV your way.
There is no other way to say what happened this summer involving Corey Stringer, the all-pro tackle of the Minnesota Vikings, passing away. No other way to say that it was just a tragedy. But as we said this morning, and we said time and time again, I don't think there is anybody in the NFL or maybe in any walk of life coaching athletics that could do what Denny Green does, to get his team together as individuals, as human beings, and to move forward positively. They were the only team that was undefeated in the preseason. I don't think that's an accident. And now they could see if they kept moving forward in the regular season at home against the Carolina Panthers. Chris Wenke making a start for Carolina, the 29-year-old Heisman Trophy winner. But what a start Carolina had, and it's better than anything Wenke could do, because Steve Smith, opening kickoff of the Metrodome, 94 yards. How about that for a cushion? 7-0 Panthers.
And actually here, the Vikings coverage team does a pretty good job of maintaining their lane. Smith does a great job of avoiding the one guy who has a chance to make the tackle, Harold Moreau, and then he's off to the races. He's untouched from that point to the end zone.
How about 3rd and 19 for Chris Wenke? Winky do. He does it. First down to Isaac Bird. Wenke to Timby Akabatupa. It's oh no, it's a fumble. Oh my goodness. 3rd and goal to 7. They were going to go in, but it's a touchback by Akabatuka. Coughed it up. 10-0 Carolina. Upset brewing. Dante Culpepper. Picked off by Jimmy Hitchcock. Used to star in some films in Minnesota. Now starring in his own film in Carolina. Second pick by Carolina. 10-0 Vikings at the half. Randy Moss. No catches at the half. We got to get this going here. Score 10-7. About it. Dante Culpepper. Moss. There's his one catch. 27 yards, 28 yards. 3 plays later, Culpepper looking for Chris Carter. All he does,
catch touchdown.
His 125th touchdown, tying him with Walter Payton, 6th all-time. PAT block, but the Vikings lead 13-10. The last time Chris Wenke played in the Metrodome, he was a high school senior. Minnesota State Championship. Wenke threw 3 touchdowns on that day in the Metrodome. What a thrill for high school kids playing an NFL arena, but Cretin-Durham High lost in the final seconds. So Wenke waited 13 years, and it's a Wenke flicker, a flea flicker. Wenke to Muhsin Muhammad. And then, Tom, everybody in football all offseason was talking. We can't wait to see that Wenke-Muhammad duo start firing away. We laughed, but look at this. They put him ahead 17-13.
It's fair.
How about the poise of Wenke? I forget that he's 29 and not 21. First NFL start in your hometown with everybody calling you for tickets on the road. They went down 24-13. Culpepper thinks he gets a touchdown, or at least thinks they get the ball to 1. Panthers challenge. We saw a lot of challenges on this day. And ball around the pylon, reverse. It's a touchback. Carolina ball, 3 picks and a fumble by Culpepper as the Panthers shocked the Vikings, the undefeated team in the preseason, 24-13, 13-22 for 223. But managing the game well was Chris Wenke on an emotional day for the Minnesota Vikings, even though they have played those 4 preseason games. This is a different sort of emotion, and maybe finally some of the emotions got the better of them. Not to take anything away from Carolina,
Not
Tom.
to take anything away from Carolina, but I thought, quite frankly, what we saw was an emotionally drained Minnesota Viking football team. When you watch them throughout the preseason, they were playing with an extra passion for the football game. They were playing with a lot of adrenaline. And I think that when you saw them today, even when they were behind, they didn't play with that same passion. And I would doubt that that would happen again with a Dennis Green team. But the part of their team that failed them today, the Randy Mosses, Chris Carter and company not being able to consistently keep it going, along with Dante Culpepper. I don't think we'll see that often, but I think they just really kind of ran out of emotional steam for the opener of the season.
And give George Seifert and Carolina credit. Chris Winkie credit.
Oh, Chris Winkie.
Poised.
Very poised.
Very, very poised. All right, here we go. Seattle at Cleveland. Butch Davis, new head coach of the Cleveland Browns, one of 6 new head coaches from season's end. And Seattle's Mike Holmgren has a lot of new players on his defense, including this man, John Randall, sacking Tim Couch. Tim Hasselbeck is the new quarterback for the Seahawks. He hands to Ricky Waters. You know, he still looks great. Look at that high step, and you think he's showing off. He just adds it to his repertoire. 40-yard run. Ricky had 97 yards on the day, led to a field goal. For the score 6-6, 2 minutes ago, Charlie Rogers out of the end zone.
Yeah, Charlie Rogers takes this kickoff, and you watch him make a couple of moves, get to the sidelines, draws the coverage to him. That's an outstanding return out to midfield.
Well, so with the game on the line, now they only get a first down, one of them with pass interference, but Ryan Lindell in his second year missed 1 field goal, but boy, he was perfect on his other 3, including a 52-yarder to win the game with seconds to go. So, no touchdowns, but you know what? Mike Holmgren, it's not the type of game he likes to win, but I think any game in which you win your 100th, and the Seahawks win on the road at Cleveland, whose defense, even without Courtney Brown, had 5 sacks. But a good game for Waters.
Well, and you're talking about a win is a win is a win, especially on the road as you open the season. We had 8 teams this weekend that did not score touchdowns. So for Mike Holmgren to walk away with a win, he's very happy to get it.
Can we say that in most cases the defense was ahead of the offense week 1?
That's exactly correct.
A recurring theme. As we continue on NFL Primetime, Bills defense was good, but would it be good enough to stop the Saints? The Johnson combo in Tampa Bay, hoping for the Super Bowl. How will they do in week 1?
Come back to NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite.
Welcome back to NFL Primetime. The Saints opening up at the Buffalo Bills. Greg Williams, new head coach, Buffalo Bills, against one-time Bill linebacker, was an outstanding player for them, Jimmy Haslett, and the surprising Western winners in the NFC a year ago, the New Orleans Saints. Rob Johnson, get used to this recurring theme, intercepted by Sammy Knight. Good Knight returns it to the 46-yard line, but if Buffalo leads at the end of the half 6-0, their defense, the new 4-3 defense, playing very stoutly as you thought they would. Aaron Brooks came on to sparkle late in the year, starting Saints quarterback, and look at Albert Cottle go up for it and make the juggling catch over Ken Irvin. 46-yarder gives the Saints a 7-6 lead in the third. Johnson to Jay Reimers. Reimers is overthrown, and it's Knight. His second in the game. He would have his third, which ties a Saint record, and this just sailed, Tommy.
Well, you look at the coverage, and this really redefines overthrowing the receiver. Rob actually overthrew him by about 10 yards. Reimers thought he was throwing the ball to someone else beyond him. He was not. It's just a bad throw by Rob.
In the fourth, it's now 17-6, and Ricky Williams, the Bills' defense, did a great job on the New Orleans running game early, but there's 16. Look at Ricky Williams running here, Tom.
Well, and you look at the burst with which he's hitting the line, Boom. He's getting to the hole quickly, and he's forcing people to miss tackles.
And then you get him in a little space with that swing pass from Brooks, and he just eases up into the end zone after not much in the first half. Ricky Williams came on with 18 carries for 93 yards. You saw him do the work with that pick. I mean, with the catch. Only the 10th time in 35 tries the Saints have actually won on opening day. And Sam Cowart left, the middle linebacker for the Bills, with a foot injury as well. Bills open with a very tough schedule. They played stout on defense, but boy, they're going to need some more weapons.
Key Ricky Williams and a much quicker Ricky Williams.
much quicker, and that can only spell good things for the New Orleans Saints. Meanwhile, the how about them Cowboys? Starting option quarterback Quincy Carter against new Bucs quarterback Brad Johnson, deep in the heart of Texas. Johnson to Johnson, not a Band-Aid. Brad to Keyshawn. On a third down, first down completion. And then a 4-yard pass to work done. Now,
yeah, but you look at the shots the receivers are taking when the ball is being delivered. Yes, those are completions, but certainly you like to rethink the way in which he's getting them the football.
Johnson 8 for 8 on the first drive, although the guys are getting slammed a little. Meanwhile, Quincy Carter, well, he can add a little excitement. He's got good escapability. It's a nice 17-yard run down to the 3.
Yeah, it would appear that actually this is what Quincy Carter does best, that ability to get out of the pocket and make something happen.
Emmitt Smith on 3rd and goal, down 3-0. And look at the play by Brian Kelly, and then John Lynch to finish him off, hold him to a field goal, 3-3 at the half. It's 6-3 Dallas until Brad Johnson sneaks in the 4th quarter to make it 10-6. Then with the same score, 4th, Emmitt. Oh, look at John Lynch and Derek Brooks. Can't say we're surprised.
That's Anthony McFarland right there in the square and the target. Look at the push that he gets upfield. He forces the back, Emmitt Smith, to have to go deeper than he wants, and then the lateral speed of the Buccaneers catches up with him, and what a great play and a big hit by Derek Brooks and John Lynch.
He's one of those guys coming on, McFarland. And then Carter's pass tipped and intercepted by John Lynch. So the usual names on defense surface, outstanding for Tampa Bay. You know what? He played all right. Dallas goes into this against Tampa Bay with a big talent discrepancy, you would think. And you get a win on the road is fine, Tom. Tampa Bay's defense holds Dallas to 8 first downs, but not a great start.
Well, I think everybody is expecting more. The expectations are very high for the Buccaneers, but again, a win on the road to open your season. You're satisfied with that. If you're Coach Dungy, you try to improve next week.
They give up only 127 yards on defense. You'll take your chances. When we return, I know he's Pro Bowl, but people still overlook Jimmy Smith of the Jags. It's dangerous to do that. Corey Dillon, could the Bengals win on opening day? A couple of years ago, this was as big a matchup in the AFC as we had. Steelers and Jags. Both teams trying to move back up the ladder in the AFC Central. The Jags have won 5 in a row on opening day. Mark Brunell, Jimmy Smith. They've done this before. 34 yards. Where's the defense, Tom?
Well, Jimmy Smith being covered by Dwayne Washington. Dwayne Washington got his body turned inside. Jimmy Smith blew by him. Brunell did a great job of delivering the football.
Now the Steelers punting, and Donovan Darius blocks the punt, and the ball dead at midfield. Josh Miller down, although fortunately he would later get up, and he really had no chance to punt it, Tommy.
Well, he didn't have a chance to punt it, but this is textbook as you watch Donovan Darius come up the field, and you want to literally take the ball right off the punter's foot. He does that to Josh Miller, goes right through him, though, to get to the ball, and at the moment, Miller would not get up. He had to leave the football game.
So to capitalize, a little later, suing possession, Brunell to Smith, 14 yards, touchdown. Brunell threw 3 TDs. You see the 2 to Smith right there. 21-3, and then naturally, when you're down on the road, it starts raining. It was pouring. Cordell fumbled. 4 turnovers. Pittsburgh Bill Cowher very upbeat about his team. They do not have a stout early schedule after this, but it was Jacksonville who played stout football. They win 21-3. Fred Taylor, 96 yards. Jacksonville's D held Bettis to 28 yards, and a good return for Hardy Nickerson, who had a pick.
Yeah, and Fred Taylor almost 100 yards. I'm convinced when he gives them the balance they need in their attack, they are a solid football team.
The Patriots at the Bengals. Well, someone had to win it. John Kitna caboodled his way from Seattle to Cincinnati. And you know what? Although he had Ricky Waters in Seattle, which is pretty good, this is Corey Dillon. A little drop play, and he just rips it for 40 yards before Otis, my man Smith, tackles him at the 29, sets up a 5-yard Dillon score, 10-10 at the half. Same score third, Kitna. And look at Darnay Scott. They've always had talent, these guys, these receivers.
Darnay Scott finally healthy again, missed all of last season. He is now back. He's their speed receiver, gives them the deep threat.
16-10, and Kitna to Tony McGee. Now, it's the Bengals, Tom, so they don't quite have the Paul Brown leap yet ready to go. But I tell you what, McGee's standing pretty tall. 23-10. That's his most points that they scored in the first 4 games all last year. Then Belichick, gamble, 2.5 to go on 4th and 1. Bledsoe sneak, they don't get it. The Patriots have one more shot, but you know what? Nick LeBeau on his 64th birthday gets a win. First Bengal opening day win since '97. They win it 23-17. Dillon, 104 yards.
Yeah, Corey Dillon is the real asset to this football team, the guy who they have to build the offense around. Let's remember the next couple of weeks, they're going to face Tennessee, they're going to face Baltimore.
They had 4 sacks, and they had only 26 all last year. The Cincinnati Bengals are 1-0. When we return, now we have some rivalries. Raiders, Chiefs. Was this one a headbanger in Kansas City? And in the AFC East, the Colts and Jets trying to play pinball wizard with the scoreboard.
Access NFL.com for official fantasy football. Get exclusive features and real-time scoring free at NFL.com.
Welcome back to NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite.
Chris Berman, Tom Jackson with you on NFL Primetime, inaugural 2001. And look at Herman Edwards. He's the Jets head coach. He looks like he could play, and maybe he should have at DB. Edgerrin James, well, he does this to everybody, Tom. On 4th and 1 in the second quarter with his team down 7-3, it's an easy 28-yard scamper. Peyton Manning through the hands of Edgerrin James. Marvin Jones picks it off. But look who's Johnny on the spot. That's right, number 18, Peyton Manning.
I reference quarterbacks getting involved with plays. We saw it from Brett Favre. We see it from Peyton Manning.
And then Edgerrin James with the cutback.
And you just look at the balance that he has as he runs through the line. He's always under control. Very shifty, but always under control.
17-7 inning. James, 28 carries, 135 yards, 2 touchdowns. Terrence Wilkins drops the punt. And the Jets special teams, Nick Ferguson falls on it at the 6th. Next play, Curtis, my favorite, Martin. Dragging 2 Colts in the end zone, 6 yards. They trail 17-14. You say he does everything? Now look at this play. The pump, the fake, the throw to Marcus Pollard for 20 yards. And then later in the drive, he runs it.
Well, you see a little bit of everything he does. Looking to safety off on the previous play. Now he goes and gets a first down with his legs. You see him again here, pump faking, drawing people away, and then throwing to Jerome Pathon for a 21-yard touchdown.
8-play, 80-yard drive, Tom, and it's a 10-point lead for the Colts. Now, Terrence Wilkins fumbles. He give it away, and now he take it. Look at the move he makes on Tony Parks, the Jet putter. He could go all the way. He fumbled to give up a TD. 78 yards, he gets it back. 31-14, C-O-L-T-S, Colt. Martin stumped by Marcus Washington. No gain on 3rd down. Now watch number 79, David Laverne in the backfield. Oh no, he runs into Vinny. Now he was blocking on 3rd down. And who is it? It's Chuki Wakori from
Purdue.
9 years in Nigeria. And he could go all the way. Oh my goodness, the Jets were about to bring it to within 7, but now it's the other way, 45-24.
Yeah, that's David Laverne, number 79 at the fullback position. He's not used to doing it, runs a little bit too close to Benny Testaverde, forces the fumble, and then Benny has to do a better job of getting the guy down on the ground.
Look at this young man. He's born in Tuskegee, Alabama, spent 9 years in Nigeria. He went to Purdue, his 3rd year as a free agent signee from '99 with the Colts, and he's the hero. The Jets could have gotten back in, but at the end, the Colts win 45-24. And this just in, Manning and Edgerrin James looked A-OK, Tom.
Yeah, when you start talking about that offense, I don't think they have any problems with it. And as we watch Peyton Manning mature, I think sometimes we forget how young he truly is. He's going to do nothing but get better.
Winning a division game on the road to start as they ran a hurry-up offense a lot of that game. Now, speaking of great rivalries, Jerry Rice is a Raider. Dick Vermeil is a Chief, but it's Raiders-Chiefs. So new participants in an old rivalry. And Eric Warfield steps in front of Rice and picks off Rich Loose Gannon. 7-0 Chiefs, 55 yards to the chagrin of John Gruden. 3rd and 8 now in the first. For the Raiders, Gannon to Jerry Rice. William belly up to the Barty. Hits Rice, but he holds on his first catch as Raiders. Sounds wrong. Jerry Rice. Gannon Rice, 23 yards. Raiders. Jerry caught 8 on the day. 2 plays later, 2nd and 12. From a 21, Gannon is nailed by Greg Wesley. It's a fumble. Chiefs recover at their own 28. Now, second quarter, spirited game at Arrowhead, as so many of these in this series have been. Gannon's going to look for Charlie Garner and watch Jerome Woods come right here, Tom.
Yeah, Jerome Woods is going to make the hit right there. You see Charlie Garner go out of bounds. Great job of holding on to the football. Gets called out of bounds. The refs would come over and review the play. It looks clearly, as you watch the replay, like Charlie Garner's feet were going to come down in bounds had he not been hit by Jerome Woods. However, the officials didn't see it that way.
Well, we'll talk more about how the replacement officials did. By and large, no huge problems. Certainly you're going to have some questions. Tim Brown thought there were huge problems, and he incurs a flag at this point. The score is 7. Gannon, by the way, at that point had completed 11 straight. But the Chiefs lead 17-6 until Gannon, Tim Brown, a quiet first half, but boy, a pretty noisy second half. They go for 2 and make it. It's a 17-14 game. Now tied at 17, Raiders at their own 45. Charlie Garner didn't have big numbers, but that's what he can provide you. And then here's Gannon to Timmy Brown, who caught 8 for 133.
The go-to guy. I mean, a lot of people contributed in this offense today, but when you really needed a play, when Gannon wanted to get the ball to somebody, he got it to Tim Brown.
And then Gannon to fullback John Lionel Richie. Oh, what a feeling. Dancing on the ceiling. 24-17. And now the next drive for the Chiefs. 4th and 10 from the 42. Trent Green, the new Chiefs quarterback. Yes, that's who you block, Tony Richardson. 49 puts a big block on. And 12-yard scramble, first down for the Chiefs. The 2nd and 10 from the 30. Green to Snoop Minnis, the 3rd-round pick from Florida State. What a game. We're tied at 24.
And he beats Charles Woodson, who's an all-pro, does a great job holding him off and keeping his arms up under the football. No question, he caught the ball.
Under a minute left, 2nd and 8 for the Raiders at the 47 of the Chiefs. Gannon to Timmy Brown, 33 yards. To the chagrin of Dick Vermeil. Sebastian Janikowski, 31-yard attempt with 18 seconds to go. It's good thing he got it up high, and it's good. It's good. The Raiders lead 27-24. Green, last gasp. He's going to have to wing it and hope. Charles Woodson picks it off. And after going 2-18 over a 20-game span against the Chiefs in the 90s, the Raiders have won 4 straight. What a game this was, 27-24. The Raiders have beaten the Chiefs, who have been 11-2 the last 13 years in home openers. You see some of the numbers. Gannon, 31-46 for 341. For the first time, Jerry Rice, a part of this Raiders-Chiefs rivalry, an eye-opener.
I think the entire world basically got what they wanted today. You know, it was some mistakes out there, but overall it was a hard-fought game. I really didn't know the magnitude of this game until I ran on the football field, and very hostile crowd, very hostile crowd, man. But you know, this Raider Kansas City rivalry, just unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, there are a lot of good rivalries. Here's one of them, and a game played to the tee.
Well, I think it was a classic Chiefs-Raider rivalry and a Chief-Raider game. And what you saw was a lot of hard hitting. But I think the contributions by the Raiders, you had a good game by Gannon. You had 8 catches by Tim Brown, 8 by Jerry Rice. Charlie Garner, I think, gives them more consistency than Napoleon Kaufman did. And when you heard Jerry Rice talk about the fact that, boy, I learned something about this rivalry, I think that Dick Vermeil did as well. I think that, you know, being in the NFC West, a little bit different than being in the AFC West. So I think he learned now the kind of ball that his team might have to play in order to win football games.
Well, and I tell you what, if you're looking for the games at Arrowhead, as we go inside the numbers, Tom, the last 3 times the Raiders have gone into Arrowhead, it's all been decided in the last 30 seconds of the game or in overtime. As Janikowski's field goal was good. They win it today. They win it on a Janikowski 43-yarder with 25 seconds to go last year. And they won in overtime in the 1999 season. All close, but all silver and black.
Inside the Numbers is brought to you by Visa. the preferred card of the NFL. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
You know, it feels good to say, hey, it is her Lambeau Field. And it feels good to watch the greatest show on earth. And Doug Flutie as a lightning bolt.
You're at a stoplight.
Nice, clear night. Best job in America. Actually go out and do some bodily harm, and it's not against the law. The best job in America.
Sunday Night Football, the Titans hosting the Dolphins when we hit the bottom of the hour here on ESPN. The headline game in Week 1, the Rams at the Eagles, and the Rams, London Fletcher. 3 Rams stayed from last year's defense, 8 other new starters, but this guy stayed. It's Marshall Faulk. Marshall. A 7-yard run after a turnover at the 10-yard line very early in the game for the Eagles. So now Donovan McNabb to Chad Lewis. And he's stripped of the ball. Adam Archuleta, one of the draft picks, picks it up. He fumbles it. Aeneas Williams, one of the pickups from the Cardinals, he recovers it. My goodness, the defense twice helping out for TD. 14-3 St. Louis. St. Louis is going to go up by 3 touchdowns, but at the one, Troy Vincent picks off the ball in the air. It's amazing how one play can change the game. 4th and 4 for the Eagles. McNabb. Time to Todd Pinkston. 14 yards, first down. Same drive, 4th and goal for the 1. McNabb to Cecil Martin. First rule, not even close. Then you looked and you said, well, my goodness, he's on the goal line, maybe in. Andy Reid challenges. Tom, looks like in.
Well, you look at the replay. If that ball is in his right arm, which it appeared that it was, then that's a touchdown. I thought the officials did a great job of going over and reviewing it.
And now, all of a sudden, they're about to be down by 3 touchdowns. They're down 1, 17-10 on the 99-yard drive. Next possession, McNabb to Martin. No review. Touchdown. 4 minutes left. We're tied at 17 on the fake flubber at the vet. Avion Kaysen receives the kick, but it's a fumble. But the Rams, oh, the Eagles had it, but they don't fall on the ball, and the Rams recover. Overtime. Eagles have the ball first. Punt. Rams have the ball second. Trouble. Warner, Isaac Bruce, 20 yards. Warner, Isaac Bruce, 27 yards to the 12. Bring on the kicker. Here's Jeff Wilkins, 25-yarder. Good. It's good. And the Rams, in overtime, win in Philly in a spirited game, 20-17. Warner threw for 308. McNabb threw for 312. He ran for 48. The Philly ran for only 57 yards. Rams actually using a ball control offense for much, certainly in the third quarter, Tom.
And defensively, only one time last season, 17 games and the playoffs, did they hold a team under 20 points, and they did it today against the playoff team from last year.
On the road.
On the road.
So far, so good. 17 points allowed in more than 4 quarters. And now comes Marty Schottenheimer and the Redskins against Norv Turner, the offensive coordinator, former Redskins coach. But this is what you came to see. Doug Flutie quarterbacking the Chargers. You also came to see Tim Dwight field a punt. Forget about it. 84 yards. San Diego Superchargers. 7-0 Chargers at the Merc. Doug Flutie, Curtis Conway, wide open. This team that was 1-15 has some confidence. Sets up a field goal, 10-0 Chargers. Jeff George over the middle. Oh, he looks good in practice, Tom. Intercepted by Ryan McNeil.
Well, as you watch the throw, he always throws off his back foot, so he doesn't get the ball exactly where he wants. When you see him in practice 7-on-7, I'm sure that he throws the ball by stepping into it. He's a lot more accurate.
LaDainian Tomlinson with the lead. The first-round pick of the Chargers is running. Now look at Flutie. Out in front, blocking Bruce Smith on the Tomlinson handoff to Curtis. You think Norv was taking about maybe 6 months to work on these plays against the Redskins?
Yeah, but I think that's what happens when you leave the old team, come to the new team.
Tomlinson, touchdown, 17-0 Chargers. Ensuing drive, 6 minutes to go in the first half. Tip, 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 tip. Intercepted by Alex Molden. Third quarter after a fumble by George. Jeff George is pulled. Tony Banks in the game. And look at Stephen Davis fumble the ball, and Rodney Harrison is there. What a douse. The 1-15 San Diego Chargers, who have a bye next week, and then play that fifth-place schedule. Dallas, Cincy, Cleveland, New England. Before they play the heavy metal, they could have a head of steam, Tom.
Different football team. Alex Molden with the interception, Tim Dwight with the return, Doug Flutie quarterbacking, Tomlinson making things happen in the running game. It's not the same 1-15 Chargers.
And Junior Seau now with over 13,000 tackles in his career. Yikes. When we return, game balls and one last game.
NFL Primetime is presented by Miller Lite. Grab a Miller Lite. It's Miller time. And in part by Levi's Jeans. Make them your own.
Atlanta at San Francisco. Michael Vick certainly wouldn't start, but would he play in some trick formations inside the red zone? We'll see. Here's Michael Vick in his own zone. Badly overthrows. Then later on in the first quarter, Vick all fired up overthrows here. He was 0 for 4 today in spelling Chris Chandler here and there. With the Falcons leading 10-3 in the third, here is Vick. Now, you know he can do this, Tommy. Look at him move.
Well, eventually, when he gets the offense in the pass game, you defensively will not be able to account for what he can do with his legs.
Atlanta led it 13-3. So in the fourth quarter, Jeff Garcia, J.J. Stokes touchdown. It's a 13-10 game now. Garcia later in the fourth, 2.5 to go. Terrell Owens. Boy, can he motor all the way down to Atlanta's 18, a 40-yard pickup. Third and goal from the 2. Niners going for the win with 15 seconds to go. Garcia, oh, he overthrows Ty Streets. Field goal is good. We go to overtime. 3rd and 5 for the 49ers. Garcia to Streets, who goes down the main street, 24-yard line on the big throw by Garcia, the Pro Bowler from a year ago. And that sets up the new Niners kicker, Jose Baby Cortez. Good. And the Niners down 10 at home in the division in the fourth quarter. Win it 16-13 in overtime. Cortez with the winning field goal. As you see, Garcia throwing for 335 yards. For San Francisco, Michael Vick, there'll be better days.
Well, I like what Dan Reeves did with Michael Vick. He's going to work him in very slowly. He's not going to let this kid get gun shy. He's going to allow him to do some things so that he can have some confidence once he starts playing.
Jamal Anderson ran for 86 yards. Welcome back for him. And Garrison Hurst ran very hard for San Francisco.
Primetime Players is brought to you by 1-800-COLLECT. Save a buck or two.
My game ball goes to Ahman Green, who put a lot of life in that Green Bay Packer rushing attack. 17 carries, 157 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
My game ball goes to anybody who can make 3 interceptions in one game, tying a franchise record. That's Sammy Knight, who helped spell good night to Rob Johnson and the Buffalo Bills as the Saints win in a very hostile and on a very hot day, a very hostile environment. Who was Sunday's primetime player in your opinion? Log on to ESPN.com. Here are the results. I'm on Tommy Bay. This is Sammy Knight way down the list. You know, you have more juice than I do. That's all there is to it. Well, it was 50 years ago on opening weekend in the NFL in 1951 that Norm Van Brocklin, the Dutchman, for the L.A. Rams against the New York Yankees, threw for 554 yards. We didn't see that. As a matter of fact, on this day, it was defense ahead of offense in most of the games.
Well, and I think that's typical of the beginning of the NFL season. Defense usually is ahead of offense about the first 2 or 3 games of the season. But those teams that have a refined running attack, I think, will be more successful offensively than the teams that really have to predicate their offense on passing the football.
The referees. Yeah. Everybody wants to see the regular refs back. We do as fans, the players do, the coaches do. They didn't do poorly. the ebb and flow was pretty good. They did well in that situation, but I don't think you want to go that much longer.
Well, we'd all like to see the regular officials get back, but I think the question is going to be, will the owners let them come back, and will the fans miss them if they aren't there?
You know what we missed? We missed football.
Yeah.
Welcome back. For Tom Jackson, I'm Chris Berman. Thanks for watching NFL Primetime. Sunday Night Football premieres in Nashville, Tennessee. Mike Patrick and the gang on hand. Michael.
Thank you, Chris. We're at Adelphia Coliseum for a pair of division champions, the Dolphins and the Titans. Tennessee has the best record in the game over the last 2 years, but to take that next step, they'll have to ride the broad shoulders of Eddie George.
Yo, we know what we got to do. Let's do it.
I really never had any doubts that I would never get here.
We don't lose on that field.
But I've always believed that I would be in this position.
Let's go. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
You have to be a man, because if you're scared, you're going to get hurt. I play a game that I love, and I get paid well for it. It's tough to talk about me because I'm still learning who I am. One of my philosophies is
Touchdown, Eddie George.
don't say what I do.
Ain't no words for this. We ready. Last I heard, you had to outscore somebody in 4 quarters.
Just do what I do. To me, each carry is like a chess move.
You're this far. Leave it on the field.
Keep the chains moving to break the will of the defense.
Let's go.
Lead by example and lead this team to a championship. Welcome to my house!
And running back from Ohio State, number 27, Eddie George!
For 5 straight seasons, Eddie George.
After a silent Sunday, pro football was back, vowing to always look back at the horrors of September 11th, but vowing to move forward, together as Americans. As flags flew on high, football was here to help lift spirits in the same direction. Football's heroes honored America's real heroes by playing, and by playing hard. On this Sunday, the NFL shouldered its responsibility for the nation.
For the land of the free and the
A historic day, to say the very least, in the National Football League. Chris Berman along with Tom Jackson. It's good to be here with you, Tom. Football properly took last Sunday off, and very properly this Sunday came back. And I think, as the commissioner told us in the morning, Tom, if football's main job on this day was to be uplifting, both from players bonding on the field and people in seats, as we're about to see, rooting for teams from other places, then I think primarily it did that, don't you?
Yeah, I don't know what our expectations were exactly for today, but it ended up being a very moving and a very exciting day for us.
And I think everybody who was in the stadiums this week and in weeks to come will be moved in very different ways. We start, and fate would have it that neither of the New York teams were home on this day as football came back to play, and neither is Washington there at Monday night at Green Bay. But the New York football Giants were out into the heartland, kind of a juxtaposition, if you will, but really, if you think about it, as we've seen all throughout sports this week, everyone feeling for New York, and that was no different as the Giants played at the Chiefs. The New York Giants playing pretty much for all of New York, but they found that they really were not alone out in the heartland, because I think it's one of the most moving things I've seen. Look, they're already cheering in Kansas City. That's for the Giants, okay? And you know how they love their Chiefs with the red. Great job, Kansas City, and great job at so many of the parks around the NFL. The commissioner, as we said, on hand, the military, and the emotion on the field and in the crowd definitely felt and will not be forgotten. And then they played football. The Giants led 3-0. Kansas City going in to take the lead until Trent Green throws high. Sean Williams picks it off. Big turnover for the New York Football Giants. Ensuing possession, Kerry Collins. Now, Kerry was picked off, but at times, look, he finds Joe Jurevicius 13 yards. And then that's a pretty good-looking play to Tiki Barber.
Yeah, and they work Tiki Barber to the outside, as they do oftentimes, the lightning element in Thunder and Lightning.
And this is the tight end, Dan Campbell, on a little cross, 22 yards. And then when you're moving like that, then you can give it to Lightning. That's Tiki. 13 yards to the 10. Nice interior blocking by the Giants. You saw at the head of the play on a reverse pull. And then Ron Dane, as we get to the second quarter, 80-yard drive, 10-0 Giants. I was going to say Collins was picked off 3 times, but he was 20 of 24 passing.
Yeah, you take a look at Glenn Parker and his block as he comes across the formation. Going to get a nice kick out right there. Ron Dane gets a chance to turn it up just inside the tackle and get to the end zone.
But here's what the Giants bring when they're playing best, and that's defense. Keith Hamilton wraps up Trent Green. The score 13-0 in the third. Green goes long, and here's a good-looking rookie, Marvin Snoop Minnis. But unfortunately, after hauling it in for 49 yards, he was quite wobbly, and you can see why as his head hit the turf. Thank goodness it's real grass. He would not return in this game. 13-3, the Chiefs trying to make a run. Trent Green will, in the fourth quarter, on 3rd and 3, keep it for a first down. 3rd and 5 at the 32. Green for Tony Richardson. Oh. Dick Vermeil says, well, let's pull to within 7, but it's going to be a 49-yard field goal for Todd Peterson. No good. And the Giants would run out the clock. Hugs from Jim Fossil and Dick Vermeil, and a together prayer on the field and in the stands. Very classy performance in Kansas City, and a very classy performance by the New York Giants, who every day they went to practice looked across the river and could see the forever changed skyline of New York City. The Giants, as they said earlier and as they say after the game, playing for a city that they would not disappoint.
I wanted us to come out and just play in a way that would make New York proud, really. And I think that's what it really comes down to. And we wanted to win that game for a lot of different reasons. One of them is you know, it was going to brighten a lot of people's day back there in New York. But really, I think the important thing is you want to play the way that you think will make them proud.
The game that we play is a game. You know, this isn't a matter of life or death. You know, yes, it is our job, but it's a game. And, you know, the people that lost their lives, the people that were at work, the firemen, the policemen, and all the volunteers that were there helping people to try and survive this tragedy, you know, those are the ones that, you know, really need to be commended.
The police department had, the fire department had, the rescue department had, as we can see it. We'll talk football and the way the Giants did concentrate, Tommy, but we heard from so many, Michael Strand. Actually, Michael Barrow was so poignant on our pregame. We owe it, the firefighters and the police department made the Giants feel at home when they went to ground zero. Hey, do something for us. Play hard for us. We want to watch football. You know what? They played hard for them.
Well, and I think there are certain times that in a game where emotion can carry the day, and I think that this was one of those occasions. No matter where the New York Giants would have been playing, their hearts and their thoughts were with those of the New York family that they feel, the people of New York, if you will. And I think certainly then Jim Fossil also put a good game plan together in terms of what they like to do, which is to run the football and play to their defense, allow them to have a chance to win the game at the end. And I'm probably most encouraged by Ron Dane and his almost 50 yards running. You've seen him become a more mature runner.
Jim likes to innovate some, but I think that we saw last year and we're seeing early this year, he's pretty in touch with his players and his ball club.
I said earlier today, no one maybe has his finger on the pulse of his team more than Coach Jim Fossil.
Well, and the Giants go out to Kansas City. They play at Denver and at Kansas City, 2 on paper. Tough place to play on the road. And the Giants get out of there 1-1 and a win that New Yorkers all thank them for. Meanwhile, a rivalry in the Midwest at Soldier Field, appropriately Soldier Field, the host of a big game, and the biggest flag we saw is the Bears open up against the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Fire Department saluting. Dante Culpepper, but look at Well, if Fridge was 72, this is the mini bar. Carl Powell with a nice play, bringing down Dante Culpepper, holding the Vikings to a field goal. Vikings lost Robert Griffith on the opening kickoff. The Bears lost their starting quarterback Shane Matthews, bruised ribs, second quarter. So it's 3-0 in the third. Culpepper to Andrew Jordan from, well,
not from Brown.
That was Steve Jordan. I got to say. 10-0 Vikings. So Jim Miller is in, and he looked to Marcus Robinson, but it's out of his hands, into the hands of Orlando Thomas. Miller strong-armed it. Griffith likes it. It's 10-3. The Bears trailing in the fourth. Marty Booker from Northeast Louisiana. We've been together too long. What a night. He had 9 catches. That's a 15-yard touchdown to tie it at 10. Mitch Berger tries to make something of a broken punt, but Bobby Howard is there to break up the pass. The Bears take over. Under 6 to go. Miller to Booker. 10 yards. And then Jim Miller to Cuckoo Kachu. Where have you gone, Marcus Robinson? He's such a big target, and he makes the catch, and the Bears have the lead 17-10.
Yeah, and Robinson, 6'3", 215 pounds, just too big and strong for Robert Tate. Leap right over him to make the catch.
The Vikings, we saw the frustration in week 1 after an undefeated preseason. Here's Chris Carter yelling at Barron Wright after a personal foul. Carter here is called for pass interference. Chris, who caught only 1 on this day, talking with Dante Culpepper, and looks a little heated. Culpepper actually hits Carter for 13 yards. First ruled out of bounds. Then on a certainly frustrating day, this is 1 catch, 13 yards. They overrule and says it is a catch. But with 4th and 10 with over a minute to go, down by a touch, that just looked terrible. Out of bounds, Culpepper, Moss and Culpepper. Look at this. Those are the signs of a team that was 4-0 in the preseason, but a very shocking 0-2 to start the year, losing to Carolina and Chicago as the Bears win it 17-10. And the Minnesota Vikings now have some head-scratching to do and some regrouping in a hurry, Tom.
You know, we talk about the emotion of the day. This team has been under an emotional strain since the tragedy of Corey Stringer's death. And I think combined with the fact that in little football, Robert Smith, 2 games last year, 37 carries, 279 yards against the Bears, missing that, putting another kind of pressure on this football team.
And by the way, lost in the shuffle of the Bears. 2 straight games, they've come out and played very stout defense. 27 points allowed in the 2 games, which are a split. When we return, Michael Vick, could he get it in the end zone? And these were the scenes at stadiums all day long. We couldn't see enough of it.
NFL Primetime is presented by Miller Lite. NFL Primetime is presented by Miller Lite. Grab a Miller Lite. It's Miller time. And in part by Best Buy. For the latest technology, turn on the fun at Best Buy.
The home opener in Atlanta. The scene inside the Georgia Dome, and Tom, a man you know so very well, your ex-coach Dan Reeves, emotional throughout. How about the play of Chris Winkie? Now, I want you to watch this. In his second NFL start, understanding the day, here's the ball. I know it's on my second NFL start, and it's a touchdown. Good job, Chris. 5 yards, 10-7 Panthers.
Very mature.
Michael Vick came into this series in the second quarter as scripted to replace Chris Chandler. Hit Tony Martin for 18 yards. That's his first NFL completion. And then, you know he can run it. And then he understands what the NFL is right here. And flips over to Bron Harper, 23 yards rushing. Settled for a field goal, 10-10 at the half. Third quarter, Chris Chandler back, a little play action. And wait a minute. Jamal Anderson's supposed to carry it, but he's wide open. 94 yards. Touchdown. Second longest in Falcon history. Tommy, how did it happen?
Well, I won't presume as to who made the mistake. Dan Morgan, the linebacker on the right, Lester Towns on the left. It's a good call by the Falcons. It's a flow out of split backfield where you make the near side backer have to play run. Somebody has to pick up the pass. We won't know who. It's a good call by Dan Reeves and his staff.
And then with the ball at the 2, Vick goes in for this play because he can do this. Touchdown. So his first completion and his first NFL touchdown. He keeps the ball, and the Falcons get the win. So both they and the Panthers are 1-1 on this season. They win 24-16, and for whatever reason, Atlanta's had Carolina's number. They beat him 6 of 7 since 1998. And a little glimpse at Michael Vick.
And I think the most important stat that we saw is the 25 for 98 in terms of the rushing yards for Jamal Anderson. He's the driving force behind this offense. If Dan can get him back running strong, then Chris Chandler can begin to get comfortable at the quarterback.
As can Michael Vick when he plays occasionally for Chandler. The Lions at the Browns. The scene in Cleveland. Earl Little, Corey Fuller. And they get to play defense against their ex-teammate Ty Detmer, traded for a 4th-round pick. Tim Couch throwing touchdowns. That's a tackle-eligible Sean O'Hara. Couch had 3 TDs on the day, 14-0 the Browns. Get used to this. Ty Detmer picked off by Percy Ellsworth. When you add a pick on a Hail Mary at the end of the half, 2 picks in the half, 14-0 Cleveland. Oh, he's picked off by Anthony Henry. He had the Hail Mary, now he has this one. 3 picks by the ex-Brown Detmer. Sets up a field goal, 17-7. Detmer rolls out. And if you're Elway or Favre, Tommy, you can make it, but forget it. Tip pickoff by Jameer Miller, that's 4.
Yeah, need a strong arm to throw the ball against your body, and Ty Detmer just couldn't get it there.
So Detmer starting his first game for Detroit instead of Charlie. Oh, he's picked off by Earl Little, there's 5. Detmer flushed out his. Oh, he's picked off by Corey Fuller, there's 6. Then, by the way, it's still 24-14, it's still a game. Detmer, he's picked off by Dalen McCutcheon. But wait a minute. Wait a minute, I said. Illegal contact, Browns, Detroit still in business. So Detmer goes back to pass, and he's going for it, but he's picked off by Anthony Henry. His 3rd, Detmer's 7th interception of the game. The NFL record, 1950 Chicago Cardinals, Jim Hardy had 8. 8 other players have had 7. The last, Steve DeBerg for Tampa Bay in '86. On a day that Ty Detmer certainly needs to forget. And the Lions, where are they going now with neither Bats nor Detmer seeming to understand what's going on?
Well, they're going back to Bats, but I think you have to give credit to Cleveland's defense. I think they've come out and they've begun at least to understand what they have to do defensively. But again, the 7 interceptions is the deciding factor in the game.
And unfortunately, it looks like the only thing, right, Tom, the Detroit will have with the Super Bowl is
William Clay Ford making that deal with the car dealers
to move the Super Bowl. When we return, more action from around the league on a memorable Sunday. And white shirt Vinny, that's Vinny Serrato. Sunday Night Football and Mike Anderson. The Marine will run in place of the injured TD, but the Broncos look so good on opening day. They play Arizona on Sunday Night Football. Welcome back to NFL Primetime. The Bills and Colts in the AFC East. The Colts and Bills inside at Indy. Hand over heart, that was John Fina, one of the veteran Bills. And look at Nate Clements, #1 pick. Picks off Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning's terrible, isn't he? You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's how terrible he is. You know what? I'm so upset that I'm looking at aerial pictures to see what mistakes. And guess what? He didn't make many more. Now, Tom, down 7-0. Here's Manning to Ken Dilger. How does a tight end on a short little flick go for 44 yards?
Missed assignment.
Later in the drive from the 1, it's going to be Edgerrin James. Now, I understand how he can get 1 yard. He does. And we're tied at 7. Greg Williams, in his 2nd game as head coach, knows that the task is large to beat the Colts in Indy. Oh, it's a flea flicker. Manning, James, Manning, Jerome Pathon. I think the Bills bit. 14-7 Indy. With the game tied at 14-all, Peyton Manning throws through the blur to Marvin Harrison. 39 yards, 21-14 Colts.
Yeah, you take a look at Anton Winfield at the top of your screen, and what he does is squat too long, gives Harrison a chance to get on top of him and blow by him for a score.
Did we say Manning to Harrison, 39 yards? Yes, I think we did. 39 yards again, 28-14 COLTS Colts.
Now, right there, Winfield thinks he has help on the inside. The safety gets turned the wrong way. He tried to make a quick turn to get back, but again, it's something that the Colts do awfully well, the crossing route from Peyton to Harrison.
3 times Manning and Harrison hooked up all in the first half at 35-17 then, and the Colts pretty much coast after Peyton threw for 324 in the first half. The Colts humbled the Bills 42-26, a career-high 421 yards throwing for Peyton Manning. He threw for all the TDs, the 4 of them. Payton caught 9, Harrison caught 7, 9 for 168, 7 for 146. James ran for 111. Peyton Manning, pretty good day, huh?
The best thing about it is that you get time with the line of scrimmage, Jaws. You get to see what they're doing, get to a run play, get to a pass play, and like I said, keep the defense breathing heavy, you know, and especially at home, you have time to hear and have time to make a lot of calls.
All right. Peyton Manning, a super job today as the Colts go to 2-0. Back to the studio.
Ron Jaworski, ESPN.
You know, those quarterbackers get it wasn't his career high, but it doesn't matter. He's going to set more career highs this year. You know what? Colts may not improve by 100 points on defense. They're going to improve by 100 on offense. Tommy, they're the Rams this year.
Yeah, and Peyton's got a commercial where he explains it pretty well. We run the ball really well, therefore we're able to play action off of it, and I think you saw great examples of it today.
So the Indianapolis Colts in 2 weeks scored 87 points. The Bengals at home against the champion Ravens, who have not lost since October 29th. That's 11 months. Elvis Gerback, Travis Taylor, nice grab. They had to work to get it. Later in the drive, Ravens 2nd and goal. Gerback is going to look for Patrick Johnson, who, you know, they run up some interesting routes here in Baltimore, and they call it a touchdown, but there's a flag. First of all, a yellow flag, late hits to KO Spikes. But then there's on the field red flags because Dick LeBeau has thrown the challenge flag. You'd like to look at the replay, and Tom,
well, Patrick,
pretty good gauge.
Patrick Johnson, 1, 2, 3, 4 steps out of bounds. You can't be the first guy to touch the ball once you do that, and you have to wonder how the officials missed it the first time around, but they got it right with the replay.
So the same Ravens drive, 3rd and goal, knocked away by the Bengals defense, but Cincinnati playing good D. And then here's another flag on the play.
Well, Takeo Spikes does a job of holding the receiver. Probably would have been a score had he not held him. So it's a bad play, but a good play in a way for Takeo Spikes.
So here's the same series. Tom, doink, 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 doink. And it's in the hands of Brian Simmons. So, I mean, the Ravens are, I mean, how many more chances they get? It's 3-0 Cincy. And at the start of the second half, I mean, the Bengals down 3-0. Patrick Johnson has the ball. Stripped by Canute Curtis. The El Kabong by Canute. And the Bengals have the ball inside the 20. Bengals ensuing drive. John Kitna caboodles it to Corey Dillon. The Bengals are leading the Ravens 7-3. It's now 14-3. Gerback, Johnson. Here comes Baltimore down 14-10. Later in the 4th, Ravens driving inside the 30. Gerback, no, but this time it's the KO Spikes, providing the take KO. Rolling. Smelling the end zone, 66 yards. And the 21-10 lead. And the 21-10 upset. The first time since October 29th, the Ravens have lost. The Cincinnati Bengals are 2-0 as they beat Baltimore 21-10. And let's give the Bengals full due. They beat New England last week. And let's talk 33 of 63 with 3 picks for 326 for Elvis Gerback. We know Baltimore can't run it. Look, by the way, you can't win every game. They've won 12 in a row. But, Tom, if you're going to throw that many times and complete only 50% of your passes and have only 10 yards of completion, that's not the sort of numbers you need for that sort of thing. You need to complete, if it's 10 yards of completion, you need to complete about 65%.
And I think the key here is, and Brian Billick certainly was dissatisfied with it last year, and I certainly will be this year, is to get the ball into the end zone. I think the mistakes in the red zone are the things that will bother Coach most. But again, it is a team that cannot really effectively run the ball now, so they're dependent on the pass to make things happen. Defenses know that. They take advantage. And again, let's give the Bengals full credit for this. This is a pretty solid defense with Simmons and Foley and Takeo Spikes. And if they can get some scoring and get some confidence, it'll be a very interesting Central Division.
Well, the first place Cincinnati Bengals, 3 picks, forced 3 fumbles. I mean, there's not much more you can do than that. As the Baltimore Ravens lose for the first time since last fall. When we return, Emmett looking for a record. This scene at Alltel Stadium in Jacksonville, the firemen and policemen getting standing ovations. Here come the Jags, and if there's a team they want to beat, and they did it here last year after the two-year ago debacle against Tennessee, they want to beat Tennessee Titans, who prevented them from going to the Super Bowl. But very early, Fred Taylor, groin injury, dropped the ball.
Yeah, obviously in a lot of pain at that moment that groin pull hit him because he dropped the football, and it was a fumble.
6 carries, 20-yard strained groin. He's out, but his replacement, Stacy Mack, 22-yard touchdown. Mack is back, and the Jags take a 10-6 lead. They're up 13-6 in the fourth. Mark Brunell to Damon Jones, 40 yards. But Eddie Robinson forces the fumble. Whoop! Samari Roll, who has 6 interceptions against the Jaguars alone, is Johnny on the spot. Could Roll do it to them again? 25-yard return of the fumble. Here come the Titans. Remember, Steve McNair didn't start. It's Neil O'Donnell. Eddie George, 4th and doesn't get it. Later in the 4th, 4th and 4. O'Donnell. Kevin Dyson. First down at the 9. 4th and goal at the 9. Just before the 2-minute warning. O'Donnell. Fernando Bryant bats it away, Tom.
Yeah, Fernando Bryant does a great job of making up ground on Kevin Dyson. Dyson only open for a split second. He was able to knock the pass down.
And Tom Coughlin and the Jaguars, there's a little bit more than meets the eye here. By the way, the Jaguars look back. 2 impressive wins over Pittsburgh and now Tennessee. And the Titans, like Minnesota, a surprising 0-2 start.
Yeah, and Eddie George, the 20 carries for 79 yards, I think still a result of Lorenzo Neal not being in that backfield. But the Jags playing well, but can ill afford to lose frontline people today. Fred Taylor, at least for a while.
The last 2 years, 18 teams began 0-2. None of them made the playoffs. However, here's Dallas, and here's Emmitt Smith, who can pass Barry Sanders for second all-time. Emmitt and Junior Seau began playing each other on this field Week 1, 1990. Doug Flutie to Freddie Jones. San Diego Supercharger. 7-0 Chargers. First quarter, Flutie scrambling to Curtis Conway. San Diego Superchargers. 14-0 Chargers. With the score 17-0 in the second. Anthony Wright starting at quarterback for Dallas. 80 yards to Rocket Ishmael, but who later left with a sprained right knee. But on this play, he was wide open, Tom.
Well, you're going to see Rodney Harrison at the safety spot. He can see him getting on top of him. Just misgauges his speed, misgauges where the ball is in the air, and you don't see Rodney do that very often.
Score 17-7. Well, 2 guys that we have enjoyed watching through the years. Doug Flutie, Tim Dwight, the connection. San Diego Supercharger. This sets up a field goal. Flutie, first half, almost 200 yards. Second quarter, a slice of history. Emmitt Smith needed 64 yards to pass Barry Sanders for second. He does so. Congratulations to Emmitt Smith in his 12th season. Walter Payton, 1,500 yards ahead. That's Bullet Bob Hayes. Speaking to the crowd, Jerry Jones, inducted into the Ring of Fame. The Ring of Honor, they call it in Dallas. Meanwhile, it's the reverse to Tim Dwight. San Diego Superchargers. Touchdown, 26-14 San Diego. With the score 29-21. Wright's pass picked off by Ryan McNeil. San Diego Superchargers. The San Diego Chargers in 2 games this year have won more than they won all last year. The 1-15 Chargers are now 2-0. They win it 32-21. They play Cincinnati next week in what obviously is a precursor to the AFC Championship game. Bengals, Chargers. That's going to be next week. Hey, Emmitt Smith, congratulations.
To be compared in the same breath as a Barry Sanders or even a Walter Payton or any other guy that's on that list, it's an honor. Seriously. I mean, as a kid, you grow up and you see a lot of these individuals playing. and you watch what they do, and you love what they do because you love the game itself. And then you all of a sudden you thrust into the same situation, or you have the same opportunities that they've had, and now you're just moving along right along these guys. You meet some of them, and you get to know them, and all of a sudden you find yourself like, man, I'm just one of the boys.
Well, I tell you what, one of the best boys. We go inside the numbers. Way to go, Emmett. 15,291 yards for his career. Only one man on top of him, the incomparable sweetness, Walter Payton. I mean, there it is. Don't need to look at much more than that. Pretty simple. Way to go, Emmett.
Inside the Numbers is brought to you by Visa, the preferred card of the NFL. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
When we return, what a great finish between the Dolphins and the Raiders. And the Eagles go to the Pacific Northwest to try to get it right. Arizona, first place by themselves in the NFC East. Jake Plummer, it's their debut tonight on Sunday Night Football playing Denver. Welcome back to NFL Primetime. Two teams, impressive wins in Week 1 on the road. The Raiders winning at Kansas City. Miami winning at Tennessee. John Gruden, emotional. On a very hot day in Miami, Jay Fiedler was hot early and then late. This is late second quarter, 3rd and goal. Fiedler takes it in, and Miami leads 7-6. Fiedler back to pass, picked up by Anthony Dorsett, 26 yards. Raiders don't get 2, but they lead it 15-10 early 4th.
Anthony Dorsett does a great job here of staying in his zone. They try to pull him up with the slot guy going inside. He doesn't do it. He fades to the outside, looks up the receiver, makes a great grab, gets a score for his team.
Remember last year, the Raiders doused the Dolphins in the playoffs 27-0. Fiedler slides. He is drilled by Johnny Harris. William Thomas shaken. He's tougher than you think, much tougher. Stays in the game. The Dolphins punting at this stage. Under 2 minutes with the score, 15-10. Miami in business, but in their own territory. Fiedler. Dedrick Ward, the former Jet, out of bounds, 20 yards. Next play, Fiedler. It's not a major play, but it's a nice pickup to Travis Minor. Out of bounds, 8 yards. Fiedler. Top pick from Wisconsin, Chris Chambers, one of the Chambers brothers. 27 yards. 1st and 10 of the 26. Fiedler. From behind second base, Oronde Gadsden, 6 yards. 3rd and 3. Fiedler looking for Gadsden, who's such a good leaper. And the Raiders are there to defend it, so now, Tommy, we're 4th and 3 at the 18. Gruden says one play and we got a tough win on the road. Fiedler throwing from shortstop, now running out. Ward, what a clutch play. Tick, 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 tick. 1st and goal. Fiedler smells the foul line. To third base, he's down at the 2. Got to spike it. Tick, tick, tick. They do spike it. 3rd and goal from the 2, 12 seconds to go. Fiedler rolling, booking around former teammate Trace Armstrong, and it's a touchdown. It's a touchdown. Miami, with seconds to go, has taken a 16-15 lead. Gruden wants to review it, but after further review,
you take a look at the replay, you can see Fiedler does a great job of stretching out, keeping his legs up in the air. That ball is across the plane before his knee hits. Good call by the refs.
And the Miami Dolphins go for the 2 points and get it. They win it 18-15. Jay Fiedler, a much tougher customer than a lot of people understand. They understand that Miami has a rock-solid defense, and the Dolphins, to me, as impressive an opening 2 wins as any team in football, Tom, at Tennessee and winning against the Raiders.
Well, outstanding defense. That's the thing I love today. When I talked with them this week, they wanted to keep Rich Gannon in the pocket, in the pocket, and don't let him get out and improvise, not only throwing the ball, but running as well, which is what they thought killed him last week. 14 of 25 for 125 yards. That will win you a lot of football games defensively.
And they allowed, what, only 216 to the Raiders all day, and they got 359.
And great job by Fiedler. I mean, a lot of poise at the end of that football game.
Clutch. So Miami 2-0, by the way, playing St. Louis next week. Very interesting. When we go to the late games, it's the Eagles and the Seahawks in the Pacific Northwest. Teacher, the mentor and pupil, that will be Mike Holmgren and Andy Reid. And Donovan McNabb and Ricky Waters. And so many looking at the flag. Husky Stadium on the flubber. Deuce Staley, 11-yard run, but takes a hit on the shoulder for Marcus Robertson. Staley gets up, pain in the shoulder. That's new pain. Remember, there was knee problem before. A partial dislocation of a joint in the right shoulder. So back to square one for the Eagles offense, no problem. Well, except early it's a problem because Coral Buckholter, rookie from Nebraska, fumbles. Ken Lucas recovers. Those are the young cornerbacks as Seattle nursing quarterback injuries. Ken Lucas and Paul Flying Miranda. Donovan McNabb knows that. James Thrash, touchdown. Lucas beaten 10-0 Philly.
Yeah, James Thrash, Ken Lucas working on him. He will learn, he is a rookie, Ken Lucas is, to try to get a bump or redirect the route of a receiver. He didn't do it to Thrash, and he had to pay.
This time, McNabb, what a pretty pass to Thrash over Lucas. Again, Tommy, another look as the Eagles score and lead at 17-3.
Yeah, you take a look, get here in a position to get out to the outside and get another score.
Matt Hasselbeck didn't get his team in the end zone the first game. Sacked by Jeremiah Trotter. 7 Eagle sacks. Here's another one. I like Ike. Reach makes the sack. So Seattle is 1-1, but they've yet to score a touchdown. In Philadelphia, after losing a game they thought they should have won against the Rams, or certainly could have, with an impressive 27-3 win on the road. The student, Andy Reid, beats the mentor, Mike Holmgren.
Yeah, and you think about the defensive coordinator of the Eagles, a lot of pressure on Kurt Warner last week. Jim Johnson, he put a lot of pressure again on Hasselbeck this week, so he's doing a great job with pressure.
Holding Seattle to 147 yards. That's the real Jimmy Johnson. The Eagles defensive coordinator. When we return, the Rams at San Francisco for an entertaining game. Game balls and more.
NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite.
17 straight. The 49ers beat the Rams, but the Rams have beaten San Francisco 4 straight, but nobody was thinking of those numbers before the game. That was Terrell Owens, quarterbacks. And now we play an entertaining football game. Warner and Garcia side by side, but Garcia, ball tipped out of the hands of Owens. Mark Fields, one of the many new starters for the Rams defense, brings it back to the 25.
Yeah, and Terrell Owens is going to catch a lot of balls that are thrown to him like that. That one he lets bounce off his chest. Fields does a great job of continuing to get to the football to make the INT.
Quite a few drops on this day, Tom. He's such a good player. Garrison Hurst, his comeback story, one of the best in football. He gets hammered. He suffered a concussion, would not play in the second half. Garcia to Owens, 10-yard pickup on 4th and 4 as the Niners, trailing 12-0, try to keep it alive. Then quarterback draw Garcia. Touchdown. 12-7. Niners coming back at the stick. Next Rams drive. One of those young defensive players that Steve Mariucci's counting on. Ahmed Plummer makes the pick of Kurt Warner. Niners ensuing drive. Kevin Barlow, the rookie, in, and the Niners lead 13-12, 16-12 at the half. But in the third quarter, here come the Rams. Kurt Warner buying time to Marshall Faulk, and he turns a little play into a nice game. Same drive, Warner. Zahir Keem, touchdown, 25 yards. A lot of sneezing in this game. Rams lead 19-16. Fourth quarter, Warner. Isaac Bruce. Oh, what a run by the Reverend.
Well, and the thing you love about Kurt Warner is he has no conscience. He throws an INT, it doesn't matter, just keeps slinging it.
2-point conversion good after the touchdown. What a play by Bruce, 30-16. 4th and 4 for the Niners. Garcia scrambling. Finds Tommy's cousin Terry Jackson. Touchdown, 30-23. Then Baby Cortez, it's a field goal, 30-26. But Marshall, up the middle of first down. Same drive on 3rd and 4, Marshall Faulk. And the Rams run out the clock. Warner threw for 321 with 3 touchdowns. Bruce caught 8 for 144. As the Rams are now 2-0, and the Niners gave them a tough game, but St. Louis did score 30.
Yeah, and this is the balance we're used to. The 100 yards rushing by Marshall Faulk, the catches by the receivers, the 300 yards or so by Kurt Warner. This is the offensive balance that they've had for a couple of years.
424 to 232 in yards.
Primetime Players is brought to you by 1-800-COLLECT. Save a buck or two.
Boom, my game ball goes to the entire Bengals defense. Snap Baltimore's 12-game winning streak. What a win this was for Cincinnati in that city.
Well, you'll take defense and I'll take offense. Peyton Manning, I think he's only revving up this year. The Colts are already scored 87 points, 4 TDs, 421 yards thrown for Peyton, and he ran for 1. And
you win.
Wins Tom second. As this is who you voted for, Doug Flutie and Jay Fiedler getting some votes. Certainly understandable. Football back, everyone had an opinion. When we return, more football, emotional effort by the Jets in New England, and some thoughts on a day unlike...
Time, Chris Berman, Tom Jackson, straight ahead.
On a day unlike...
Time, Chris Berman, Tom Jackson, straight ahead.
And welcome to week 4 of NFL Primetime. I'm Chris Berman along with Tom Jackson. Of course, we're excited to show you football, but we, of course, first would like to say that the news today, all Americans have heard it by now, the president speaking just before 1 o'clock Eastern time, explaining to the country that the strikes have begun against American-led forces in Afghanistan, and we should preface everything we do, Tom, by the men and women who serve for the United States and the other allied countries. We first all think and hope and pray for their safety.
And I reiterate that, our thoughts and prayers with our servicemen and women overseas.
We're sure they are doing a job to the best of their ability, and again, we pray for their safety. With that being said, it was a Sunday of football. We know you're tuning in to watch some football. We're happy to show you some football. And we begin with one of the nicest stories we've had this year. That would be the San Diego Chargers. 1-15 a year ago, 3-0 this year in Cleveland to face the 2-1 Cleveland Browns. And they brought Jim Brown and Bernie Kosar, some of the great Browns. They had a great halftime festivity out to see if their team could beat Doug Flutie and the undefeated Chargers. Tim Couch, now he's healthy this year. Let's see what he can do. He runs, he's tough, and instead of looking like a recliner on that look, takes the licking and singles the first down. Later on the drive, James Jackson, one of Tom's cousins in the Cleveland area, takes the carry, hit at the line, touchdown. 10-3, first rushing touchdown. Chargers have allowed all year. Butch Davis's club trying to go to 3-1. Mike Riley, though, has things going for the Chargers, down 10-3 at the half. And you know why he has things going? LaDainian Tomlinson. Not only watched the rookie, who has over 300 yards in 3 games, go downfield. Doug Flutie got downfield to help seal another area to go for this 53-yard run.
And you take a look at the replay as you're going to see LaDainian Tomlinson move to his left, but watch him back out of that hole. That is a great move. Get to the right sideline. The attempted block by Doug Flutie, great effort. And LaDainian with 53 yards of rushing offense.
He was held pretty much in check in the first half, but a big second half, and that touchdown ties it at 10. Now 11 minutes to go. Second and goal from the 2. The Chargers in business, about to take control of the game. Doug Flutie on the move. We know what he can do. He's going to throw it or run it, but he's getting in the end zone. No! Corey Fuller, whoa.
Well, it used to be legal, and I guess it still is, the clothesline.
And then Cleveland would stop him on third down, settle for field goal, 13-10. It's now 16-13, 2.5 minutes to go. Tim Couch to Kevin Johnson. What a big play as the Browns are driving for at least what they hope is a tying field goal, if not the win. And then look at this. Kevin Johnson, touchdown from Couch with a minute and change to go. It's 20-16 Cleveland. Doug Flutie scrambling. 52 seconds to go. First down barely on a third down play. Next play, Flutie under pressure. Complete to Freddie Jones. Here's the magic. Ball in the Browns, 45, 14 seconds left. Now remember the Hail Mary that Phelan caught when nobody hit it? Oh my goodness, nobody hit it. Or hardly deflected it. Curtis Conway had a chance.
Well, Curtis Conway did not see the ball coming in.
So now, the official Hail Mary. What do you do?
Knock it down!
They knocked it down. So Flutie's Hail Mary's incomplete. Butch Davis, who was the defensive line coach on that Miami team that saw Flutie saw the Hail Mary. Bernie Kosar, who was the quarterback on the Miami team that saw Flutie do the Hail Mary. They all were there to watch the Browns win. And they and the Chargers are each 3-1, 20-16, the Cleveland Browns. Now, before we get into San Diego, because we've had a field day with them for a month, let's look at what Cleveland has done. They lost opening week 9-6 to Seattle without giving up a touchdown. 7 picks against Detroit. Win at Jacksonville. Then today they play outstanding defense again, holding the Chargers to 16. Butch Davis is a defensive coach. He has brought his philosophy to his team.
Yeah, been able to mold the team in his image. Certainly 11 turnovers overall in terms of interceptions. And this is a ball club that's playing outstanding run defense. You see the ends getting great pressure on the quarterback, forcing people to move as they did Doug Flutie today. I think that this team can only get better because they're waiting for the #1 choice in the draft from 2 years ago, Courtney Brown, their best defensive player, to get back in the lineup. When you talk about Doug Flutie and the San Diego Chargers, Doug Flutie today just over 140 yards, and he's been doing that 3 out of the 4 games they played thus far this year, threw for less than 50%, getting great running from LaDainian Tomlinson, outstanding defense. Doug would be the first one to tell you he needs to hold up his end of the bargain.
So we played 4 weeks in. There is no undefeated team left in the AFC, and Cleveland is 3-1, along with the San Diego Chargers. Here we go elsewhere in the AFC Central. Opening game at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. They love their football. 57 varieties of pickles, and Jerome Bettis needs 54 yards to become the 14th man to get 10,000 yards. Bettis run the bus, lumbering, 48-yard run. Rich Tilsky helps bring the play the guard, Tom.
Yeah, watch Tilsky here is going to do a great job of pulling out, just watching. Get outside on the corner. Great kick-out block. Bettis a good job of reading it, cutting up inside, getting downfield.
And then, no, he doesn't get in. The Bengals hold him. 4th and goal. The gamble does not pay off. Later in the first, this run puts him over 10,000 yards. Congratulations, Jerome. And the crowd, first game ever, as we said, a milestone as well. Now back to business. Steelers lead 3-0. John Kitna caboodles one for Cincinnati, picked off by Chad Scott. Look at the moves of Scott. Whoop! Changes direction and brings it out to the 28-yard line. Same drive at their own 49 on 3rd and 2. Cordell pitched to famous Amos Zaraway. And he fights off a couple of hits, keeps on ticking, 22 yards. 2nd and 13 from the 17. Cordell. Is he okay? Yes, he jumps up. 9-yard gain. Then Cordell. First touchdown scored at Heinz Field was not by Hines Ward. He did catch 8 balls. It was by Cordell Stewart. And the Steelers win 16-7. So a 2-0 start for the Bengals, now 2-2. Congratulations to Bettis, who had 153 yards. Pittsburgh over 400 yards in offense today against the Bengals.
Yeah, Jerome Bettis in their first win, 114 yards. As you said today, 153 yards. The game plan is clear. They live offensively, at least in the beginning, off the running of Jerome Bettis.
And as we go inside the numbers, Tom, living offensively against the Bengals, who admittedly are improved this year, even though they lost today, but in 12 games against the Bengals, Bettis has had a career. 9 of his 12 games, including today, 100-yard rushing games, almost 1,300 yards. He likes this matchup. So do the Steelers. Welcome to Heinz Field.
Inside the Numbers is brought to you by Visa, the preferred card of the NFL. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
When we return, don't look now, but there's new monsters of the Midway. Don't look now. Jake the Snake gonna upset the Eagles in Philly?
NFL Primetime is presented by Miller Lite. Grab a Miller Lite. It's Miller time. And in part by Visa. It's everywhere NFL fans want to be. And by 1-800-COLLECT. Save a buck or two.
Atlanta coming in 2-1 behind Dan Reeves. The Bears off a week ago. They bring a pretty good defense. Dan Reeves didn't know how good a defense. Meanwhile, Jim Miller, the Bears win when he's in there. The option to Marty Booker. Booker to Kukachu, Marcus Robinson, to David Terrell. They've worked on this before.
Yeah, they have the ability to do it.
So the trick play and the alley-oop. Picked off by Brian Urlacher. This pass by Chris Chandler. Look at the middle linebacker go his second year. Next play from scrimmage. Miller. This one's picked off by the Falcons' Ray Buchanan from Louisville. Next play, Chandler. This one's picked off by the Bears' Tony Parrish, the thought. 3 straight interceptions. And Ray said, man, I got to go back on the field now. Chandler did not return after that interception, a mild concussion. But don't worry, he was intercepted 3 times in the first half. So half for his early season great rating. So Michael Vick is in, and here's Philip Daniels.
Well, that play right there, a great job of Philip Daniels holding on the outside, the pitch and the bootleg. He did not go for the fake. And then again, watch here, Daniels, great pressure.
He put great pressure on, and now it's the Bears on offense putting big pressure on Miller. Marty Booker, inside cut, 63 yards, 17-0. The Bears still in the 4th. Falcons on the 3. Here's Daniels. Oh, man.
A great job of pinning the quarterback's arm, and then one of the great future young linebackers in this league, Brian Urlacher, scoops the ball up, heads to the other end zone. Acts like he's been there before.
90 yards. And then Roosevelt, Sean Colvin. Rockabye. Everything's gonna be all right. Rockabye. My goodness. The Bears brought their defense with 7 sacks, forced 5 turnovers. Their best start since '95. Pushover is no longer. Not with that defense, as the Bears win in Atlanta, 31-3. And, you know, this despite only getting about 300 yards on offense. When you have that defense, you're going to dictate.
Well, you look at the numbers right there, the 5 turnovers, the 7 sacks, and I think to build a great defense, you have to have a focal point. Brian Urlacher is going to be the focal point for many years for this outstanding young defense.
Cardinals at the Eagles, the soft underbelly of the NFC East. 0-8 going in. Here's Donovan McNabb and Pat Croce, not Jim Croce, operator. Won't you help me place this call? Here's a call that McNabb wants back. It's a fumble. Kyle Vanden Bosch, one of the rookies, scoops it up after Fredrickson makes the hit. 7-0 Arizona. McNabb scrambling. And the Swami's cousin, Kwame Lassiter. Just either an overthrow or an underthrow. Not a good throw. Still in the first, 3rd and goal, Arizona. Play action. Plummer to Joel Makovicka. 14-0 Arizona in Philadelphia, Tom. Until Brian Mitchell got going.
And Brian Mitchell is such a versatile player. We're going to see a lot of phases of what he does right here. Here's a little dump screen. He does a great job of reading his blocks, getting down the field. A 56-yard gain. He's always been a go-to guy wherever he has been, like with the Redskins, the same here with the Eagles. And then Brian Mitchell with a run up the middle. Great job of hitting the hole quick, getting what he can, getting 11 yards.
We should say that the first run set up a touchdown pass, 14-7. That run set up a field goal, 14-10. This didn't result in any points inside the 2-minute warning, but a big first half by Mitchell helps get it back in the game. It's 14-10. Now, it did help because McNabb, with just 10 seconds to go, to Todd Pinkston at the touchdown. So Philly down 14-0, seemingly toying with Arizona. Ahead now 17-14. 10 minutes left. Plummer picked off by Jeremiah Trotter. Maybe should have thought about staying in there,
well,
Tom.
Outstanding pick, but he picked it at the back of the end zone. You run it out, you're not going to get to the 20. He didn't even get to the 10-yard line.
Now it's a 20-14 game with just over a minute to go. Jake Plummer owns 20. Now Jake the sixth has done this 4 times against Philly coming in. To Marte Jenkins. Okay, 16 yards. Plummer, 44 seconds left. Here's where he's at his best. Under pressure to Jenkins. And he gets in around Troy Vincent. How did it happen? Marte Jenkins has gotten in 35 yards. And the Cardinals, who had lost 9 straight going back to last year, win it for Dave McGinnis. They win at Philly as 14-point underdogs, 21-20. Let's hear from the man who threw it and the man who caught it.
When I caught that was in the end zone, I turned to see the pylon, and I was like, man, I gotta get to the end zone first. So I just dove in, tried to stretch it out, and get the victory.
I heard a beat. It started going B, and then a minute left, it was changed from a B-O to a B-R-A-V-O, and that's a pretty stupid quote, but...
Hey, bravo, huh, Tom? I mean, the Cardinals, he can do this from time to time, Jake.
Well, and I think that's the key. It's from time to time. This is something that we got acquainted with Jake Plummer doing a lot. He does it now once every 8 games. He needs to improve that number.
And Philly opened the door, unlike they did against Dallas and Seattle the 2 previous weeks. When we return, Dolphins trying to beat the Pats, Vikings trying to beat the Saints as they did in the playoffs last year. If you want to log on to ESPN.com, you can ask White Shirt Vinny Serrano any question you want. Personnel, he's got your answer. And you can vote on who was Sunday's primetime player. We'll tell you who ours are later. We'll be back.
Primetime, presented by Miller Lite.
Last week, the Dolphins were shocked big. The Patriots were shocking because they won big. Let me tell you about a man named Brady. Tom Brady starting his 2nd game, and it started out well for New England. Antoine Smith, ex-Bill, now good, 9 yards, 7-0 New England. Lamar Smith, a recurring theme. Boy, at times, you know what? He's not the most flashy of backs, but when he gets blocking and when he gets up ahead of steam, he's got big gains, and just asked the Colts to the playoffs.
Well, take a look at the guard, Mark Dixon, and the fullback, Deion Dyer. Great job of pulling and kicking out. And you've got an outstanding downhill runner in Lamar Smith. He's going to read the blocks right and get what he can out of the run.
And look at this. He bounces outside, 7 yards. Smith, 144 yards rushing on 29 carries today. Caught 3 balls for 23. I'd say that's productive. We're tied at 7. Now tied at 10, second quarter. Jay Fiedler, and this is not going to be very pleasant. Anthony Pleasant drills him from behind. Fiedler tough, bounces up. 2 plays later, that famed Dolphin combination of Jay Fiedler to Jed Weaver. 14 yards, maybe not the Marx Brothers, but it puts the Dolphins up 17-10. Brady fumbles the snap. Jason Taylor will never get an easier touchdown. 27-10.
Yeah, you take another look at it. You're going to see Gray Rugemeyer. He's going to kick the ball as Brady was trying to pick it up. The nice scoop, very athletic by Jason Taylor. 1 step, I'm in the end zone.
4th quarter, Patriots have a 4th and 2, just trying to make something happen. Brady, quick pass to Torrance, nailed by Patrick Surtain, who makes absolutely certain that the Dolphins go on to win for the 3rd time this year in 4 tries, 30-10 against New England. We told you Smith's numbers. Miami had the ball for over 36 minutes.
Yeah, and I don't think the formula for success is the secret. They run the ball well. They don't turn the ball over. You allow your defense to have a chance to carry the load for you. They're going to win a lot of football games.
Get a lead and make no mistakes, and that's what Miami did, and they won it impressively. Last year, the upstart Saints were knocked out of the playoffs in Minnesota. Aaron Brooks and the Saints looking to upend Randy Moss and the Vikes in the New Orleans home opener. First play from scrimmage, Joe Johnson. Hello to Dante Culpepper. 6 sacks for the Saints. Took 1 play to get 1. 2 plays later, Leroy Glover hits it, boom. Culpepper recovers. The tone is being set. Still early first. John Connie. It's not good night, everybody, for his career. He's in New Orleans. He had 5 field goals. That one for 50 yards. The Vikings dusted off Jake Reed. 20 yards from Culpepper. Get down. Down. Next play, Culpepper to one of the heroes last week, Byron Chamberlain. 29 yards. Next play, here come the Vikings. Culpepper Oh, that's pretty to Randy Moss. 7-6 Vikings. First touchdown of the season for Moss. So, hey, no, I like that picture better. I look good in that one. Same score, second quarter, Ricky Williams. Look at this. 11 yards, Tom.
And this is what Coach Haslett expected from Ricky Williams. He's been injured before. Now he seems completely healthy. But look at the job he does right there, holding on to a ball that should have come out.
Ed Williams, a tough 1-yard run for a touchdown. 30 carries, 136. They go for 2. They don't make it. 12-7. Now 15-7. Culpepper to Chris Carter. And watch the play by Kevin Mathis. 2 yards from the end zone. Sammy Knight, good night. It's a touchback.
Boom, this may have been the play of the day. We're going to take another look at it from 2 angles. Kevin Mathis does a great job of stripping Chris Carter, who's got maybe the best hands in the history of this game. Look at him right there. He realizes Chris is going to score a touchdown. Does a great job of getting the ball back for his ball club.
So the Vikings down 18-7, under 6 minutes to go. Culpepper is trying to buy time, but Darren Howard's going to cause a fumble. Chris Oldham, after it goes off Badger, and one Saint could go all the way. Touchdown. And a bunch of odd numbers on the scoreboard. 15s, 12, 18s. And now the Saints get to a number that we understand. 28. The Vikings get 15. So Minnesota, which staved off early, almost being eliminated in the division, now they're back to 1-3. The Saints win at 28-15. We told you they had 6 sacks. And Darnay Culpepper needs some help. He needs some help for Minnesota, Tom.
Well, he threw for over 300 yards today. The numbers look pretty good, but when you look at the rushing numbers, the 11 for 34 yards is just not enough to give the offense balance and to keep the defense off balance. So you gave New Orleans a chance to do what they do best up front, which is rush the passer, and then offensively, they're getting good play from Ricky Williams, which is starting to make Aaron Brooks a lot more comfortable. So it's a good, solid effort by them, and the Vikings are in real trouble.
Hard running by Ricky Williams, and the Saints coming home look like a different team. That was their home opener. When we return, G-Men trying to win again at home against the Skins, and the battle of the day between Baltimore and Tennessee turned out to be not that much of one. Super Bowl champion Baltimore Ravens against Jeff Fisher and the Titans. 13-3 last year, but Ray Lewis and the Ravens were the champs, beating Tennessee twice in their own yard. Eddie George and the Titans trying to straighten things out, but they would have little or no success. Elvis Burback to Kadri Ismail. That definite interference on Donald Mitchell. Ravens ball to 16. Terry Allen, right up the gut. Where's the defense? 7-0 Baltimore. Second quarter. Elvis to Kadri. Oh, that's pretty. 77 yards. 14-0 Ravens. And when they have a lead by 2 touchdowns, you might as well shoot the gun off right there.
Well, there's so many elements to this defense that make them great. The first thing you're going to see is Ray Lewis and Peter Boulware meeting at the quarterback for a sack. And they get on top of the quarterback so quickly, you have very little time to look down the field and scan through your reads. Next play, 2nd and 16. Now it's Tony Siragusa and Michael McCrary on the stuff. Eddie George for a short game. Then the screen. Should have had a chance to be successful, but look how quick the Ravens defense closes on the play.
Even Siragusa is fast. Now a little history. Shannon Sharp passing the man who signed him with Baltimore, Ozzie Newsome. 13 yards, more yards receiving than any tight end in the history of football. Congratulations, Eddie Duke. 7,986 yards. Samari Roll injures his neck right here. The good news is x-rays and MRI taken today negative, although certainly very scary moments when he's carted off the field like that. Now back to Baltimore's defense, Michael McCrary.
Talk about the quickness, that inside move right there by McCrary. You saw how quickly he got off the ball. Watch him here. He starts with a power move, but watch him come off of it, and that burst right there allows him to get McNair down on the ground, and you just can't anticipate that speed unless you're working with it in real time.
Tennessee knows they got to go to some different playbook to get some scores, down 20-0. Here's one. Donald Mitchell flagged earlier, blocks the punt. That was a perfect block of Kyle Richardson. Touchdown, 20-7. So not conventional. Tennessee looking to just get close. Ensuing kickoff. Onside. Frank Chamberlain. Titans ball. But now you have to move on the Ravens defense. See, that's going to be a problem. Down 27. This is 3rd and 1. McNair, the flip to Mike Green. The halfback option, Rod Woodson. Did he close in a hurry or what?
He closed in a hurry, and his veteran leadership and knowledge allowed him to know that that's what was coming.
And then just in case you were wondering, Baltimore goes on a up-the-gut, ram it down your throat drive. That was Terry Allen. This is young Jason Brookins. Touchdown. Yikes. Ravens quote the Titans. Nevermore. 26-7 with authority and then some. Shannon Sharp in the record books, but also knew the final score.
It was supposed to be 2 heavyweights. Well, 1 heavyweight showed up. You know, they did all the talking. You know, we got a 40-year-old back that came off the street last week and rushed for 100 yards. You know, and one of the guys over here asked Brian what happened to the running game, Geritol. So, you know, you get TA, all of a sudden he's getting to feel more comfortable with the system, the offensive line. We're starting to do things that we feel comfortable in. You know, it's just funny how you listen to, you know, especially the media in Tennessee and how Jeff Fisher talked, you know, how classless we are. But I like being classless and winning. Them classy losers, they drive me crazy.
Let me just give you a couple of defensive numbers. First down, 23-9. 460 yards, Baltimore, 185 yards, Tennessee. Even I'm starting to see the picture.
Boomer, you still think the 85 Bears defense was better than the Ravens?
Yep.
I took your sandwich. Here's another.
What do we... That's dinner? That's all I get?
I brought you another one.
We see it.
Came around.
Oh, my goodness. Tom, in every phase of the game, in Denver, home to Tennessee. Hello. They mean business to defend.
A couple of things. Number one, they're the best tackling team in football and maybe one of the best tackling teams in the history of football, not only from the defensive line and linebackers, but from their DBs, their corners and their safeties as well. And I can give you a good feel for what other teams think in this league. Tennessee went into this game knowing that they might not be able to score offensively. So they were looking for the punt block. You're looking for other ways to score. 41 games in a row, including the playoffs, no 100-yard rushers. They make you one-dimensional.
And that drive at the end of the game to seal it.
It's what Tennessee used to do.
Tennessee 0-3. Only 5 teams have made the playoffs 0-3. You know what happened? Well, I'll show you in a minute. When we return late game, Sean Alexander playing for Ricky Waters. Could the Seahawks win it? Broncos with Mike Anderson trying to stiff-arm the Chiefs. We go to the Pacific Northwest. Seattle. Well, Trent Dilfer starting for Seattle. We all remember what he did last year, hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. He was there to back up Matt Hasselbeck. He's hurt. And look what happens. Tulamili catches a touchdown from Trent Dilfer, and the Seahawks lead at home 7-3. Ricky Waters out. Could be a month, could be 2 months. Sean Alexander, second year back. How did he do? Pretty well. 14 yards. 14-3. So Dilfer and Alexander leading the way. As for Stacy Mack, fumble! Chad Eaton recovers. This is what the Seahawks had in mind with all their changes.
Yeah, you check out the replay here. LaVon Kirkland's going to be the guy who's going to make the hit. The ball comes out. Eaton's going to make the recovery. You see Tom Coughlin giving Mack a tongue lashing on the sideline. And oh, by the way, Mack would not play anymore today.
Yeah, but Sean Alexander did. 3-yard touchdown on the flubber. 21-12, Seabirds. With the score 21-15, 4th and 1. Elvis Joseph. 2 pretty famous names. But he fumbles. Michael Sinclair picks it up. Elvis Joseph. You gotta like from the Bible and from pop culture. At any rate, Mark Brunell throws incomplete to Keenan McCardell. The Seahawks get 176 yards rushing from Sean Alexander. They beat Jacksonville 24-15. Each team is 2-2.
Well, and I'm a firm believer. I mean, Seahawks are, you know, glad to be 2-2.
Yes.
And the Jaguars, without Fred Taylor, they're a team that struggles.
Absolutely. Now we move on to the Chiefs at the Broncos. Broncos trying to lick their wounds from last week's pasting at the hands of Baltimore. Trent Green and Brian Greasy face off. Kansas City's won the last 4 times these teams have played, Tom. Trent Green looking for scoop minutes. Picked off by Delta O'Neal. He's ready when you are. Next, it's Mike Anderson. Handoff at his own 38. Gone! 62-yard touchdown. Was he in, Tom? Let's look. Yeah.
You take another look, and right there you can see his foot stepped out. That's a good mark by the official.
Touchdown. 7-0. There's in Denver. Trent Green steps up through 2 Broncos. How does Tony Gonzalez make the catch? Johnny on the spot. He made several of these. Look at this. Both cheeks in. Leads to a field goal, 10-6 at the half. Trent Green looking downfield, picked off Delta O'Neal, his second. 4th quarter, 13-6. Trent Green picked off Delta O'Neal. He could go most of the way down to the 5. His 3rd interception. From the 5, Denver goes right at it. Ryan Greasy to Rod Smith. He caught 8. This one a touchdown, but there's a flag. Chiefs illegal substitution. Willie Lanier and Bobby Bell went in for defense. It wasn't allowed. 20-6. Trent Green throwing downfield. Picked off by Delta O'Neal. 4 interceptions. Ties an NFL record. It's been done 18 times, but he's in the books. So Denver's defense spurs a 20-6 win in which Mike Anderson had 155 yards.
Well, and that's the key. If the Denver Bronco offense is going to play well, it's going to play well because they run the ball well. Mike Anderson gave them what they needed.
So the Broncos at 3-1 regain their winning ways. Chiefs fall to 1-3. When we return, AFC East battle in Buffalo between the Jets and Bills. Tampa Bay. The Jets at the 0-3 Buffalo Bills. Greg Williams looking for his first win before the Bills go on a bye. First quarter. Curtis, my favorite, Martin, not a favorite of the Buffalo fans. Late kickoff, windy day, Orchard Park. 16 yards, 7-0. Jade. Rob Johnson tipped, intercepted by Marvin Jones. Jets in business inside the 10. Richie Anderson touchdown catch, 14-0 Jets. Then Mo Lewis knocked Drew Bledsoe onto the sidelines in New England. Makes the hit. John Abraham picks it up. 21-6 Jets. Johnson tries to make something happen. He does this. He runs, but he doesn't get waist down. And Mo Lewis hits him in the head. Pinch nerve in neck.
Yeah, Rob is very courageous. He always tries to get the extra yard out of a scramble, and oftentimes he takes the extra hit for doing it.
He would not return, but the Jets offense did. Vinny, a screen pass to Martin, 12-yard gain. 2nd and goal. Martin, touchdown, 28-9. Third quarter, it's a 28-15 game. Alex Van Pelt off the bench. Peerless Price avoids a tackle. He's got Jets, not New York Jets. They can't catch him. 70 yards, 28-22. But here come the Jets. 1st and goal from the 2. Vinny. Anthony Beck. Touchdown. 35-22 Jets. It's a pretty catch.
It's an outstanding catch.
But here come the Bills. Van Pelt trying to Frank Reich it. To Larry Self-Centers. Oh, no. Mo Lewis. Touchdown. Boy, Mo Lewis has ruined the Pats. He's ruined the Bills. Van Pelt threw 3 TDs. 42-36. Jets, Buffalo 0-4.
Yeah, and if the Jets are going to have success on defense, it's going to be because of their linebackers. And they got it today from Mo Lewis. They got it from Ferrier. They get it from their linebacking corps.
Bills have a bye next week. They're hoping Rob Johnson will be okay. Big matchup again between Warren Sapp and the Bucs, Brett Favre and the Packers. Packers come in, one of 3 undefeated teams in a week 4. They're 3-0. Favre, pump fake, but Shelton Quarles. No argument here. Bubba Franks can't get him. He's got a convoy. 98 yards. 7-0 Bucs. Later in the second, Favre says, okay. Look at the bullet to Billy Schrader. 67 yards, tied at 7.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at the replay because you're going to see Warren Sapp get very upset after this play. You look at how close he came to ruining this play for Green Bay. Gets close to Favre, gets the hit. Brett stands in to make one of Brett Favre's outstanding throws.
Brad Johnson probably can't pronounce Kabir Baja Biamila. But he didn't want to see him either. Can't pronounce it. Please don't see me. 8th sack of the season for Biamila. 2 plays later, Biamila has another Kabir. John Theory recovers the fumble. 3 sacks in the game for Biamila. 10-7 pack. That leads to a field goal. Warwick done out. Mike Allstat at halfback. He's had some big games against Green Bay before. Look at the big fella go outside. 39 yards. Touchdown. And with under 7 to go, the Bucs lead 14-10.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at the blocking. Watch Jameel Cook at the fullback spot. He does a great job of blocking. Then Keyshawn Johnson getting him to the outside downfield. Keyshawn going to lead him right into the end zone.
Good feet with Allstott. But you know who is lurking with the ball with 3.5 to go, down 4. What could happen with Brett Favre? To David Martin across the grain, 9 yards. 1.5 to go. Favre. The wobbler on target to Schrader. 12 yards to Bucs territory at the 45. Sapp says, I've seen this before. 2 plays later, Favre. Screen to Ahman Green. 25 yards down to the Bucs 13. 35 seconds left. 2 plays later. Favre. Here's Anthony McFarland with the sack. Brett tries to stay up, but he's brought down. 8 seconds left. Favre and the pack on 4th and 15, looking for the last second win. To the end zone. What do you do?
Knock it down.
They did. Warren Sapp, Brett Favre, another monumental battle between these two. But the Packers lose, which leaves only the Rams playing on Monday night undefeated. 14-10. The Bucs beat the Pack. They get back in it at 2-1. Warren Sapp exhausted.
Gets us back in the first place and put us up in a position where we can get on the road. You know, 'cause we be the hot ball club. Number 1 defense, number 3 offense, all that. Horse pick them, take them to the house, and we get 2 more picks, and that's usually a formula for winning.
Tampa hung in, they hung in. Green Bay better defense than people.
Well, Green Bay better defense and a gutsy performance by Tampa Bay's defense at the end.
Green Bay hosts Baltimore next week when we return. Could Dallas upset the Raiders? Really? And game ball. Stay with us.
Primetime is presented by Miller Lite. Grab a Miller Lite. It's Miller time. And in part by Charles Schwab. Expert advice that's objective, uncomplicated, and not driven by commission. And by Valvoline Max Life, the first motor oil formulated for higher mileage engines.
Double dip in the Bay Area. The Niners at home in the ESPN game. Jerry Rice and the Raiders at home in the afternoon against Dallas. Tim Brown fired up. Rich Gannon says, well, even though Dallas is going to hit you, here's 16 yards. Then Gannon, Jerry Rice. Jerry caught 7 for 51 yards. Play action, Gannon off the infield, which the Oakland A's will certainly be using soon. Complete to Brown. Then Gannon, plenty of time. Jerry Rice, touchdown, 7-0. Brady. Dallas with the ball. Quincy Carter pulls up limping while throwing a pass. Strained hammy. So they go to Anthony Wright. I can't do it. Bring in Anthony Wright. You know what? They're all right with him. Down 14-0 Dallas at the 50. Wright to Joey Galloway. 2 years later, paying dividends. 14-7. The lead is cut to a touch. 21-7. Dallas kicks off. David Dunn fumbles. Robert Thomas recovers.
this is earlier in the game, and this is Lynn Scott on punt coverage. He got knocked out of bounds. This time he goes downfield, beats the blockers, makes the great hit, initially causes the hit that ends up in the fumble.
Tim Cedar's field goal is blocked, so Dallas could not capitalize. The score 28-7, it's a fake. Tim Passover Cedar. Touchdown, 28-14. Oh, he needs Elijah. Meanwhile, Wright, the Darren Chiaverini has pulled Dallas to 28-21. The good hands people cannot recover the onside kick. Give Dallas credit. They've played closer games until Arizona's win today of the NFC least, but Oakland wins at 28-21.
Well, I think the Raiders have really made use of the weapons that they have, run the ball well, and what a surprise Jerry Rice has been early on.
Primetime Players is brought to you by 1-800-COLLECT. Save a buck or two.
Boomer, my game ball is going to go to Denver Bronco. Delta O'Neal, 4 INTs, tying an NFL record. Doesn't get much better than that.
Well, it doesn't, but on defense, may not get much better than the play we're going to see over the years for Brian Urlacher. Interception, had the long fumble recovery. The new monsters of the Midway Bears playing good defense, and Urlacher gets our game ball. Who won on .com? Your votes?
Boy, now NFL film.
Division with some highlights we'll show you, but Tennessee keeping their hopes alive, barely. Here we go now, Chicago. Once upon a time, this would have been Chicago versus Chicago, meaning Cardinals at Bears. Of course, that's 50 years ago. Brian Urlacher, can the Bears actually win 3 in a row? They just win with Jim Miller. His numbers don't look good. He was picked a couple of times. That's a pick to throw to Des White. Miller to Marty Booker, but they just win with him, Tom. 25-yard pickup, 3rd and goal. James Allen, touchdown, Bears 10, Cardinals 3 at Soldier Field. 3:30 left in the half. Jake Plummer pulled one out of the hat last week. 3rd and 3, incomplete. What about the decision?
Well, take a look at the replay, and you watch 3rd and 3, and look at the room that Jake has in front of him. I'm sure if he had the decision to make again, you run for the first down, you have plenty of room to get yourself out of bounds.
Michael Pittman will take the handoff, and for the 2nd week in a row with the Bears defense, Mike Brown caused the fumble. R.W. McQuarters. It's a silver dollar. 69 yards, and McQuarters in the end zone with the punchline. Right there. 20-6, the Bears. 4th quarter, 3 minutes to go. Can Jake the Snake do it again? Well, there's the throw to Frank Sanders, 20-13. Cards with a shot. Under a minute to go. Shotgun Plummer. But Brian Robinson, cuckoo kachoo, gets the sack, and the Chicago Bears have won it 20-13. Jim Miller is 4-3 as a starter, and you know the club is way under that in the last 3 years. They're winning, and they're feeling good about their defense.
Yeah, and they're starting to play outstanding defense, and we always say it shows up in the form of rush defense, and today they held the Cardinals under 80 yards, so an outstanding performance by them in terms of beginning to stop the run.
4 games, the Bears have allowed 43 points. When we return, Steelers on the road in Kansas City, where they often win. Battle of Ohio, biggest crowd ever to watch a sporting event in Ohio at the Bengals-Browns game. Ties Gary Anderson's franchise record longest field goal. Steelers 6-0 Pittsburgh. Josh Miller punt blocked by Michael Ricks. Rumbling, fumbling. It's out of the end zone. 2-run home run. Kansas City. George Brett. They're down 6-2. I mean, it's a 6-2 game. Correct. Trent Green, a recurring theme from last week, picked off by Chad Scott. Let's get him go.
Yeah, and that's an out pattern just thrown late by the quarterback, Trent Green.
61 yards, 13-2. Pittsburgh. Then you have an 11-point lead. Why don't we do this? The bus not exactly looking for the sidelines. 30 yards for Jerome Bettis, who today had 112 yards rushing. Cordell Stewart, Hines Ward, one of 57 varieties of the pickle, touchdown, and it's 20-2. The Steelers leading. So now down 18, Kansas City decides to run with Priest Holmes. Now, he ran it well, very well, at under 50 yards. But now here they go. Early fourth quarter, 26 yards, it's 20-9, touchdown. Holmes, 23 yards.
Yeah, and mysteriously, they continue to run, and you can see the clock right there, and eventually we know what's going to happen.
Well, they get in the end zone. They make a two-point conversion. It's 20-17. 3rd and 4 for the Steelers. Famous Amos Zaraway. We had pickles, we got cookies, we got everything on this team. And Dick Vermeil would never get the ball. Now, look, Trent Green played poorly, so they made it a game running, but they eventually ran out of time and never had the ball. Pittsburgh wins it 20-17. First time Chiefs have started at home 0-3 since 1980.
And third game in a row, Jerome Bettis, 100 yards plus, wins, all for the Steelers.
And, Zaraway had 42, Cordell had 47. They had over 200 yards rushing to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That'll win you a lot of games. Battle of Ohio and Tom's neighbor in Cincinnati at the game as the Bengals are at home against 3-1 resurgent Cleveland. Nick Harris, this is directional punting. Unfortunately, it's an 18-yard directional punt. So the very next play after the poor Bengal punt, Tim Couch, Kevin Johnson hooked up for the win against San Diego last week. 30-yard touchdown. Browns win 7-0. It's 7-3 now. Move forward to the third quarter. John Kitna caboodles one beautifully to Darnay Scott. And the Bengals have the lead 10-7. Third down now. Later in the third, I should say. Couch runs into James Jackson. It's a fumble. The Bengals recover. Leads to a field goal, 13-7. And then Corey Dillon. Watch this. Get out of my way. No one's going to stop.
And people talk about Corey Dillon being a contact runner. His coaches do. Watch once he feels the contact from defenders. He runs through 1, 2. We're going to see a third and a fourth guy here. He's actually punishing the guys trying to make the tackle.
Next play, John Kitna hooks up in the shadows of Peter Warwick, standing in the shadows of love for 34 yards. Always like that song. Kitna to Chad Johnson, waiting for the heartaches to come inside the 10. Dillon, early fourth now, same drive in the end zone. 140 yards on 31 carries for Corey Dillon. Hey, Dick LeBeau doing a great job with the Bengals. They signed him just in time. First-round draft pick Justin Smith signed the week before the regular season, really the week of game one, and he makes the big sack. The Bengals are their best start since 1990, which is the last time they had a winning record under Weish. They win it 24-14. Each Ohio team 3-2.
And again, start with the running back, Corey Dillon, 31 carries, 140 yards. You do that, you set up play action pass, you make your quarterback somewhat comfortable.
Tommy, 199 yards rushing, 201 yards passing. What about, we've always talked about the Bengals balance.
That is correct.
Just we haven't talked about it for a moment. When we return, oh, you want to talk about game-winning TDs. How about the Niners and the Falcons? About it, Minnesota, and a nail-biter, they wished it wasn't one.
Welcome back to NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite.
Talk about a great finish. San Francisco at Atlanta, the first rematch of the year. San Francisco down 10 in the first game, tied it in regulation, won in overtime at the Bay. Chris Chandler to Bob's sister, Christian. It's a touchdown. 7-0. He white snakes his way into the end zone. 7-0 Falcons. Chandler to Algie Crumpler. Oh, what a nice catch on the fly and run down to the 3-yard line. Maurice Smith would score in a 3-yard touchdown the next play. 20-7 Atlanta at the half. Terrell Owens, no catches first half. He's terrible. Well, maybe not. Jeff Garcia. Terrell Owens, that's beautiful. It's a touchdown, 33 yards, 20-17, under a minute to go in the third. Garcia, Owens, slant, 18 yards with the score 23-17 Atlanta in the fourth. Next play, Garcia looking for Owens. Well, he feels the rush nicely. Tommy throws it, but wait a minute. Ed Jasper knocks down Matt Willett, 15-yard unnecessary roughness penalty leads to the Niners keeping the ball. Kevin Barlow, touchdown. 24-23 Niners. 2.5 minutes to go regulation. Chandler, Brian Finnerman. Finnerman begin again. 47 yards, touchdown. And you think all he can do is score? 2-point conversion, good, 31-24 Atlanta. 2 minutes left. Jeff Garcia and Terrell Owens, 16 yards. 22 seconds left. At the 17, Garcia. Owens. Touchdown. We're tied. We got overtime. 31 all. Jose Baby Cortez, the happy kicker, won it in overtime the first game. Would he have a chance? Garcia, Dave Fiore, fumbled snap, third of the game. Falcons ball, but they didn't capitalize. They had the punt. Niners ball, 3rd and 1. Fred Beasley gets the first down. 3 plays later, 3rd and 5. Pump fake. Garcia. Owens. Gone! 52 yards. 9 catches in the second half in overtime. 3 touchdowns and a dump. And the Niners win it 37-31. What about the coaching job Steve Mariucci is doing? They're 4-1 after winning this game on 332 passing for Jeff Garcia.
And you mentioned Owens, no catches in the first half. I think we're looking at the new, if you will, Sterling Sharp in this league, the strongest wide receiver in this league. He's not only big, but tremendous strength.
Tom, the Niners at 4-1. I've revved up the bandwagon, which I think I built back in 1981. Lions winless. Let's start Charlie Batch, okay? But it didn't start well. The guy that started well was Minnesota at home. Dante Culpepper, about 33 yards. Touchdown, 24-6 Vikings. It's going to be a laugher because Detroit, once again in the first half, horrible, outscored 80-12. They scored 24-6 in the third. Culpepper to Chris Carter. All he does?
Catch touchdown.
This one passes the great Jim Brown. 127 for his career. 4th all-time, 31-6 Minnesota. It's over. Maybe not. Charlie Batch, they scored once, 31-13. Batch. Jermaine Crowell, wide open, 16 yards. No good for 2 points, 31-19. 12-point game. 10 minutes left. Culpepper to Randy Moss, and you don't see this often, but look at the play by Todd Light.
Well, it's a great play by Todd Light. He does a better job of getting up and fighting for the football. If you're Randy Moss, you want to catch the ball at its highest point. He managed to let it get down to his chest, and then Light did a great job of fighting for the football.
On 3rd and 5 with 7.5 minutes to go, Batch to Johnny's Martin. Keeps the drive alive. Then Batch tries to salt one in the end zone to Morton. But it's ruled incomplete, out of bounds. I don't know. We watched it at the time. Marty Morningwake says appeal. Good appeal.
Yeah, watch the right foot and the left knee. Gets 1-2 down. Referee did a great job of making that ruling, overturning the call.
Look at everyone with Matt Millen. You got to take on the demeanor of your president. Dennis Green. You got to be kidding me. Meanwhile, Charlie Batch to Morton, 15 yards on 4th and 2. Under a minute to go. Their own 28. The drive goes. 31 seconds left. Batch. David Sloan, how's Danny looking now? 11 yards. Here come the Lions. Batch. 15 seconds left. To Crowell, they have no timeouts. They make it. Get out of... Go. What are you doing? What are you doing? Tick, 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 tick. What are you doing? Get out of bounds. He had a great game, but brain cramped at the end. Vikes win barely 31-26. I think we're going to let Charlie Batch start next week with the Lions 0-4 for the first time since '89, early in the Wayne Fonts years when they specialized in coming back. Minnesota dodges a major bullet.
Outstanding day by Dante Culpepper. But again, you look at the fact that the Minnesota Vikings don't have the balance, did a lot today. You had Dante Culpepper as your leading rusher again for the Minnesota Vikings.
With 83 yards rushing and 244 passing. When we return, another great finish, New Orleans at Carolina. And in football, we got a great game scheduled tonight. Colts at home against Hades. I gave White Snake credit when it should have been Night Ranger for Sister Christian. We got that straightened out. Saints, I do it on the fly. You know, I can't come up with everything. Saints at Panthers. Chris Winkie, and he can't hold on to the ball early. Sammy Knight recovers. He's been around the ball all year for the Saints, Tom. And one play later, Aaron Brooks to Cam Cleland, making his presence felt. The big guy, touchdown, 7-0 Saints. It's 10-0, and Winkie is trying to make something of it all, picked off by Charlie Clemens. Looks like San Diego State in that uniform, doesn't it?
Yeah, the all black.
It's just, I don't know. 3 first half turnovers. by the Panthers. And Brooks makes him pay to Cam Cleveland. Touchdown, 17-0 Saints. It's over. Think again. 17-6 Panthers punting. Michael Lewis. Fair catch. But he doesn't catch it. Goes to the bread baskets. Michael Hawks recovers.
Well, Panthers did a great job of surrounding the football and made it a difficult catch for Michael Lewis. Great job for them getting down and recovering the football.
So Winky to Donald Hayes, and you talk about a good catch. How about that one? Touchdown, 2 points, no good. 17-12, Saints lead down to 5. Then blocking Saints.
Yeah, watch number 85, Cam Cleveland, number 68, Kyle Turley, and 65, Chris Naoli. They do a great job of sealing so that Ricky Williams can get to the outside. A seal here and a seal here.
Gonna break it up the alley. 147 yards for Ricky Williams, and the blockers say, hey, good job. It leads to a field goal, 20-12, the Saints. Now in the fourth quarter, third down for Chris Winky. And on a day when it rained, it was sunny, it's a first down. Under 4 minutes to go on 2nd and 9. Winky dinky do to Wesley Walls. Oh, that's pretty all the way around.
And think about this game. It started with Winky fumbling the ball, Winky throwing an interception. He is so mature as a young quarterback.
So it's 20-18, and Steve Smith returned the opening kickoff this year. Look at him do it again. Could go all the way. Under 2 minutes to go. Smith, 70-yard touchdown. The Panthers have come from way back. They lead the Saints 25-20. So now it's the Saints that have to come from behind. Brooks with 1:10 to go, and the game is over, right? Oh, no, it's not. Doug Evans can't quite hold on to it. 4th and 10. Aaron Brooks, Tommy's cousin Willie's Jackson, first down. After a timeout, Brooks, got a lot of cousins in here, I gotta tell you. Scrambling. First down, and look at the block he gets downfield. Brooks ran for 49 yards, a pump fake to Joe Little Bighorn, broken up in the end zone. 2nd and 10. Brooks, Horn, down to the 5. Here they go. Saints spiking. 14 seconds left. Now 5 seconds to go. It's loud. Incomplete. Is that it? No, there's 1 second. What about this call? A toss to Ricky Williams with 1 second. Touchdown.
It's a great call. Set up for the pass. You know the defense is thinking you're going to pass. You run with Ricky Williams. Great call by Coach Haslett.
What a gutsy call by Jim Haslett, Aaron Brooks and company. And on the last play of the game with 1 second to go, they run it to the post. And the Saints beat the Panthers by the count of 27-25. So New Orleans now ups their mark to 3-1 in a very competitive NFC West.
And reoccurring theme here, 31 carries, 147 yards for Ricky Williams. Amazing how your quarterback plays well when you run like that.
So the Panthers game still haven't won since opening day. And now the only team going into Week 5 still undefeated, the 4-0 St. Louis Rams against Ron Dane and the 3-1 New York Football Giants. Dane pitch, waits for block, powers to the corner. Hey, nice opening 80-yard drive, or early 80-yard drive, first possession game, 7-0 Giants. Morton Anderson, 41-yard field goal, good. Giants lead 10-6, but wait, flag, holding, Dan Campbell. So 51-yard field goal, no good. His first miss of the year. Remember it, score remains 7-6. G-Man. Here come the Rams. Oh, Marshall.
Yeah, very un-Falk-like for him to have a ball in his hands. Would have scored on this play. You can see how frustrated he is.
Sets up a field goal, though, 9-7 Rams. Michael Barrow, Sean Williams, crush Falk. He hadn't fumbled in 501 straight touches. Dropped that pass, fumbled 2 times in the game. Falk, strained right knee, the one he's had surgery on twice. He's going to be out for up to a month. More details in a day or two.
Yeah, Barrow down low with the hit. Sean Williams did the damage up top and bent him back over his knee.
So the Giants knock Falk out. Terry Collins steps up. Ike Hilliard, touchdown. The Giants playing so well on defense now have the lead 14-9. Did I say well on defense? Charge led by Michael Strahan.
Yeah, take a look at Michael Strahan right there in the box. You're going to see the guard come all the way down the line. Tom Newton try to block him. That's a difficult block for the guard. Michael Strahan, with his strength and quickness, just does him in. And then working on Ryan Tucker, the right tackle, just overpowers him, pushes him back to Kurt Warner, and drives him over the quarterback. This is another play look at him force Ryan Tucker to give ground so he can get another sack on Kurt Warner.
And now it's more Michael Strahan. He had 4 sacks. He strips Warner of the ball. Strahan, the Giants, why wouldn't they be confident? Playing defense like the defending NFC champions said they would. Warner rolls out for Isaac Bruce. Sam Garnes is there to knock it away. 4th and 3, the Warner family hoping. Falk out. It's Trung candidate. Wins the election. First down. 3 plays later on 3rd and 8. Warner hit as he lets fly. Flag flies on a pass overthrown for candidate. Kurt hurt. Garnes holding the jersey of candidate.
Yeah, easy call for the official because the jersey comes away from the body.
So Wynn knocked out, so Jeannie Martin in to hand it to Trump candidate. Not the show you expect from the Rams. 2-point conversion fails, but they take the lead at 15-14. Under 2 minutes to go. Can the Giants get into Morton Anderson field goal range? Collins, Hilliard, down to the 46. 2 plays later. Collins, Joe Jurevicius, popped by Adam Archuleta. Fred Westrom is there. That's a real good defensive play, and you can't fault the Giants offense.
Yeah, Adam Archuleta, one of the great young safeties coming in this league. A good hit on a good play forces the turnover.
The Rams are 5-0, so they remain the last undefeated team as they were 2 years ago when they won the Super Bowl. The Rams 5-0 for the 3rd straight year, only the 3rd team in history to do that. 73-75 Vikes, 29-31 Packers. But I feel like we should, I mean, congratulations to the Rams, but we should talk about what the New York Giants did in St. Louis, where the Rams are twice as fast. What a defensive performance. They did everything but win.
Well, I thought that John Fox, the defensive coordinator, came up with a great scheme, and he did just enough rushing and blitzing. He forced the quarterback to have to make some tough decisions. They really battered Kurt Warner around, but you give the Rams credit as well for standing in, taking the licks, taking the pounding, and coming back and winning the football game. But I think that what's interesting here is as you look at the 16 carries for 41 yards, we know that Mike Martz has made up his mind that they want to throw the football. How often can we see Kurt Warner take the kind of beating that he took today? And it might be more of a beating with Marshall Faulk sidelined for at least some amount of time.
You know what we talked about on the pregame on Sunday NFL Countdown is that, you know, the Rams, they're going to 4 or 5 games have a lot of turnovers.
Well, it's going to happen.
They fumbled a lot against Philly, but they fell on theirs themselves. They're 4 turnovers today, Rams. They survived 3 turnovers before. They're human. The Giants made them human, but they did everything but win the game. What a tough football game that was. Doug Flutie in Foxborough, he's automatic there. We all know that. Amon Green, well, you can't run against the Ravens. No way the Ravens would lose at Lambeau. We all know that. Get right.
Welcome back to NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite.
San Diego coming to Foxborough. It's been Doug Flutie, 13-1 as a starting quarterback in high school, college, and as a pro against Tom Brady. 1-0 lifetime at Foxborough. Why would we show the Chargers at Harvard Stadium against the Patriots and Lance Allworth catching a touchdown in 1970? It's the last time they beat him, period. They've lost 9 straight, have the Chargers to the Patriots. Tom Brady, fake. Terry Glenn, he's back. He's in the lineup for a 20-yard pickup. Second quarter, tied at 3 on 2nd and 8. Tom Brady starting his 3rd game for Drew Bledsoe. Oh, my God, the poise. Touchdown to Glenn. Extra point block. P-Men lead 9-3. Chargers lead 13-9. Patriots first. Go look at Antoine Smith. Get the nail from Junior Seau. Ex-Bill. Now good. Touchdown.
Take another look at it, Antoine Smith. A great hit by Junior Seau at the 1-yard line, but he manages to keep himself balanced, Smith does, and back into the end zone.
So 16-13 P-Men play flake. Flutie to Steve Hyden skating into the end zone. Chargers botch the extra point. They lead 19-16. Then Lee Johnson. And look at Derek Harris. Throw him down, get the fumble, get up and score. That's the hat trick, and the game is over. The Chargers lead 26-16, under 9 to go. But it's not over. 26-19, 2.5 left. LaDainian Tomlinson stuffed by Brian Cox, who caught a pass, was in on goal line offense, recovered a fumble, and helped force this punt. Now, let me tell you about a man named Brady. Minute 24, Brady, Detroit Brown edge, banner it out, 16 yards. 3 plays later, oh my goodness, they're inside the 5. Brady to local hero Jermaine Wiggins. Touchdown. Extra point. Good. 26-all. Overtime. Chargers win the toss, but the Natalie-clad Bill Belichick's defense hold. Now it's the Patriots' ball. Brady for David Patton. The general gets the flag. Alex Molden watch.
Well, you got to turn around and look for the football and make a play on the ball and not on the receiver.
3rd and 5. Look at the floater to Kevin Falk. First down and then some. Sets up. A few plays later, 44-yard field goal. Adam Vinatieri. Good. It's good. They beat Doug Flutie in Foxborough. Are you kidding me? Perhaps his last visit there ever. And the Patriots with Tom Brady throwing an amazing amount of times. Tom Brady, 33 of 54 for 364. What poise? Patriots come from 10 back to win.
Yeah, and amazing he found a go-to receiver in Terry Glenn back for the first time in a month, and he comes back and plays well.
So a tough loss for San Diego's now dropped 2 in a row after starting out 3-0. And now you talk about tough. Brett Favre is the toughest gunslinger in the Midwest, the West, the East, the North, the South, the Caribbean, Asia, Antarctica. But here comes the tough Raven defense after destroying Denver and Tennessee. What could they do to the Pack? Whoa! Jamie Sharper, Peter Pouillet, Ray Lewis stop Amon Green. But on the same drive, second quarter, Favre, so calm. Bubba Franks, 2-yard touchdown, tied at 7. Late second, Favre. Corey Bradford stretching. 47 yards. He's ruled down. Not all the extra yards. Who cares? 40 seconds left in the half. Favre. Antonio Freeman. Can you thread it any more than that? Favre. 8 seconds to go. Freeman. Touchdown. Mike Sherman's Packers lead 17-7. Brett Favre looking as good as he's ever looked. Meanwhile, down 17-7, Elvis Gerback picked off by Darren Sharper. Dad had a tough time. Jamie plays for the Ravens. Darren plays for the Pack. I feel strongly both ways. Matt Smokey Stover, 28-yard field goal, makes it 17-10. 31 straight games he's had at least a field goal, tie the NFL record, set for the Vikings, Fred Cox. Favre to Donald Duke and the driver, between 3 guys to the 29. 3 plays later, 3rd and 9. Amon Green, up the gut, down to the 9. Pass interference call makes it 1st and goal at the 1. Green, touchdown. Pack. 8-play, 80-yard drive, 24-10, Green Bay.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at some of the defense that Green Bay played today. Watch Niall Diggs. We're going to put him in the box for you right there. Jason Brookins coming up on the run off the right side of the offense. And look at Diggs, light into him. The rest of the defense comes for support late.
Scored 24-10, Pack late in the 4th, under 8 to go. Favre, Freeman. Corey Bradford going to block downfield on Chris McAllister. It helps bring a 47-yard play down to the 2. Boy, the Packers are in sync on offense. Remember, this is a defense that sets records, leads the NFL at everything, but not today. Favre, Bubba Franks, touchdown. The road is on. 31-10, Pack. Later in the 4th, 31-17, Randall Cunningham dusted off. How many times have we seen him do this?
Great job of diving into the end zone. Even at his age, he can still get up in the air and get over the defense.
31-23 after Baltimore goes for 2 and doesn't get it. Freeman recovers the onside kick, and just on cue, a rainbow over the field at Lambeau. It's raining, sunny. Brett Favre, 27 of 34, so only 7 incompletions. None of them picked. 337 yards, 3 touchdown passes. The Packers, the Green Bay Packers, are 4-1, slicing and dicing the Ravens. Brian Jaworski with number 4.
Thank you very much, Boomer. Brett, your 30th 300-yard passing game. Did you expect it to come against the league's #1 defense?
Absolutely not. We didn't know what to expect. We knew they had a great defense, and really the second great defense we faced in a row. And we felt like going into the game we wouldn't be able to run the football much or well, and that held true. I mean, they're a great defense, and we knew we had to execute
and make the most of every opportunity that we were going to get. Try to spread them out and use our weapons. Put 5 guys out there, let them all run it out, and you got to find the one who's open. And it is a lot of pressure on the quarterback, but you know, we felt like it was our best chance to win. All right, Brett Favre having fun in the field. The Packers go to 4-1. Back to you, Boomer.
Wow. By the way, this just in, he's the best. He's the best. Well, he is the best. They were so in sync, Tom.
Ray Lewis, meet Brett Favre.
Yes, hello.
You know, it's one of those situations where certainly the Ravens are still an outstanding defense and able to make you one-dimensional. That one dimension today was Brett Favre, and they did a great job, as he said, of spreading them out, forcing them to keep their nickel package on the football field, and you saw the variety of throws that Brett Favre can make. He either waits until the last second to deliver the ball where he wants, or he buys time with his legs to allow his receivers to get open.
And oh, by the way, the Packer defense, they look pretty good as well. Brett Favre at Lambeau, 61-9 in his career. 61-9. And this is what the Packers and Favre did today. As we go inside the numbers, the first 4 games the Ravens played, they allowed only 3 touchdowns to their defense. Now, what we mean by 54 yards is many of them were fumbles deep. The team went nowhere to score. Sunday against the Packers, drives of 59, 74, 80, and 82. They took it to him early. They took it to him late. They took it to him all day. They exposed him. Packers win big.
Inside the Numbers is brought to you by
Dave Wannstedt and the Dolphins going to the Meadowlands at Los
NFL Primetime is Primetime Players is brought to you by 1-800-COLLECT. Save a buck or two.
Boom, my game ball for the first time goes to a member of the losing team, Michael Strahan. 4 sacks, 6 tackles today. Great effort, career high for him.
My game ball goes to the greatest gun in any part of the world. Number 4, Brett Favre, almost perfect against the impregnable, we thought, Ravens defense. Who did you vote for? Brett Favre. Hey, look, Terrell Owens, an unbelievable game. Ricky Williams, Brett Favre. Unbelievable. As the Green Bay Packers are in first place, the place they used to own in the NFC Central. On this day, we saw the Packers, Tom, do to Baltimore what we thought couldn't be done.
Yes.
We saw the Giants defensively do to St. Louis.
Very competitive.
A lot of teams will be studying this.
And I think in the AFC, we absolutely don't know.
Tackles again yesterday.